Hello everybody, welcome to the Tuesday show. My name is James Chen and I am joined once again by the illustrious duo of Mr. Ultra David and Mr. Tubaware, who have the exact same voice as we have discovered earlier today.
Yeah,
So,
exactly the same.
how's
For
everybody
example,
going
as
out
I'm
there?
wearing my hat over here on the right side of your screen, you'll see that I'm not talking even though I'm able to project my voice.
Wow, that is amazing, Tubo. How did you do that without moving your mouth? That was really, really impressive.
Years and years of practice.
Gotcha. Okay.
The answer. Yeah.
Yeah.
Rad, everybody! Thanks for joining us for another Tuesday show. It's super tubular.
Yes,
out here.
Chong, if you just mouse over to the right, you'll see the ability to change the settings of the closed captions. And so if you do not want the closed captions, you can turn them off, but we've decided to have them on every week to help those, for basically helping those with the inaccessibility options and such. So there you go.
16-bit says that Tubo's blurry and looks like he's from a 64 game. Tuboware, if you were from a Nintendo 64 game, which game would it be?
I would say GoldenEye. He's Oddjob, right? He's tossing around the hat.
No.
What a
no,
thing to
I'd
say about
I'd
somebody.
I'd be like Superman 64 because no one wants me.
Oh, wow,
Dang.
okay.
No,
I was
I'm
gonna
saying
say
he's like
Conker's Bad
Oddjob
Fur
because
Day.
he's overpowered. Come on, David.
Wow, you guys are mean. I was just gonna say that he's like a grotesquely speaking squirrel, like in Conker's Bad Fur Day. That was my analogy.
Yeah, we can go with that too. That works.
Cool.
I'm down.
Rad. Super. Not bogus. We're going to be talking about these things on this side of the stage over here. As you can see, the topics include UMK11, which is the official name of that video game, Rambo trailer. We're going to be talking about Twitch and streamers' rights, I guess. If they have any, we'll see. And we'll talk with Persia in the interview, which I'm very excited for. I know all three of us are excited for.
Yep.
We're going to be doing 5-5 matchup discussions on things like what happens when the moderators are the jerks, and is it cool to make fun of CyberPunk for delaying its game, and the viewer choices as well. There's a little bit of other game and FGC news. There are some tournament results that we'll get to briefly. There's some upcoming stuff that we'll get to briefly, but let's begin by talking about good old Rambo.
Well,
I see everybody's
what about it?
raring to go to talk about Rambo. And
You tell us, David. This is your forte, not ours.
Okay, well, let's start the topic timer over here.
Yes, sorry. I forgot to do that part.
So,
Gosh,
Rambo,
one
first of all, I should say that there's going to be a combat cast tomorrow where they're going to discuss Rambo in more detail. So I don't know like that much about the character quite yet, but they did put out a trailer for Rambo. And if you recall, when they first showed Rambo, Tubaware was opposed to it. And Tubaware, could you reiterate why that was?
Rambo doesn't belong in Mortal Kombat.
Why is that?
Because he's gun, bang, bang, shooty, not martial artist. Also, his universe, it just makes no sense. He wouldn't want to fight anyone. He'd be like, no, I'm going to live in this cave and not fight. It just doesn't make sense, man. I hate it.
First of all, you don't know the story of Rambo in Mortal Kombat 11. It could be anything. Maybe like Chronica like made it to you're not, you know. Not
No,
interested.
no, it's stupid. It's dumb.
All right, well, I can tell you at least this, that the idea that Rambo's the shooty guns guy does not seem to be correct. Because in the whole trailer that they showed, Rambo, I think, had 2 times where he was even holding a gun at all. And one of them was something that cost bar to do. And the other one was during his, like, win animation at the very end.
I
and he's
didn't.
like,
I didn't necessarily mean. I didn't necessarily mean that he's like gonna shoot a bunch of guns in his gameplay. I just mean like he's not a martial artist. What martial art does he practice?
Jungle.
practices-
Yeah, yeah. It's not. He doesn't. He's not a martial artist, man.
That's not right.
He's just a.
In a way, martial arts, the root of the word martial, meaning for war, is really just about whether you can fight in such a way as to survive during wartime. And would you say, on the record, Tubaware, that Rambo is not somebody who's capable of surviving during warfare?
Yeah, he's definitely somebody who is capable of surviving during warfare.
Well, then, it sounds like you agree that he is, in fact, a practitioner of the martial arts.
Sure. Sure, man. Sure, you got me.
You're gonna learn very quickly, Tubo, that trying to debate with a lawyer is not any fun here.
Oh my god.
Got him.
Look,
Literally a martial artist.
Look, man, John Rambo would vote libertarian. All right, that's all you need to know.
I could see that. Yeah, he's probably a Jorgensen voter.
For sure.
I could definitely see that.
I mean, look, I'll tell you this much right now. Like, I'm not. I kind of like the guest characters are being put in the game. You know, I know that a lot of people didn't agree with it or felt like it was a bad take. I do kind of agree a little bit with the Kotaku article that was talking about how it just felt like it kind of cheapens the legacy of some of those characters.
Yeah.
I didn't know about a lot of the things about RoboCop, and seeing how RoboCop like kills somebody with a brutality the same way that he dies in the movie, I think is kind of messed up. And I don't know, it's just like, it's just weird because yeah, I know they're action movies, they've gotten ruined by their sequels and everything like that, but you know, as a person who has this much love for RoboCop and then understanding of in First Blood how he didn't kill a single person in First Blood, and you know, obviously he kills a billion people later on in other movies, but it's just like, I don't know, there's just something about it that just doesn't feel right to me. I don't know. Like, if it was horror movie monsters, it's like, whatever, right? You put Jason, you put Freddy in there, they're all about killing people and getting killed and everything like that. I get it. Ed Boon is kind of having a little bit of a power fantasy here, throwing these characters because he loves these characters in there, and I get that, but I don't know. I feel like there's better choices, to be honest with you. I really, really think that there's better choices.
Well, I think that Terminator makes a lot of sense as far as the guest characters go in MK11.
Terminator makes sense, yeah.
I think RoboCop even fits in a weird way.
Yeah, I mean, I do agree with James that I think that there's some things that happen for RoboCop. Like, I play the character, so I'm seeing these things happen. And, yeah, like, some of the stuff that he does, I'm like, I don't know if, like, Alex Murphy would do that, really? That seems weird. But in the end, I'm not super stressed about it, because it's Mortal Kombat. It's like a video game that I'm playing. So, for Rambo, I don't have that kind of connection with Rambo that I've always really loved RoboCop. It's always been really cool for me. Ever since I was when I first saw it as a kid, I'm sure I didn't get any of the interesting criticisms that the movie makes. But as I got older, that stuff became important to me as well. And yet, the video game fighting game character RoboCop, I'm okay with him not being.
So I think part of why I hate Rambo and Mortal Kombat so much is because those movies are really important to me.
I see.
My stepdad loved the Rambo movies. So we would always watch Stallone movies together.
Dude,
so I think part of my childhood is no, this is separate. Because I played Mortal Kombat as a kid, right? My dad didn't play Mortal Kombat, but my dad wanted to watch Rambo with me. So in my brain, these don't, let's keep them apart. I mean, so maybe there's deep psychological stuff in there where I just hate it because of that. But also Rambo doesn't belong. It's stupid.
Yeah, my dad was a gigantic First Blood fan. That's clearly one of my dad's top 5 favorite movies of all time. I mean, we watched it when we were kids and everything. And my dad would always explain it. He'd be like, "Yeah, see, he doesn't kill anybody. He's only doing this, and they're the cops are the bad guys, and da 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 da, all this stuff. And this guy's a jerk and whatever." And the way that he was talking about it, he had so much reverence for it. And like I said, yeah, I know that the later Rambo movies messed up the character completely, but with RoboCop, I don't even pretend 2 and 3 exist, right? So it is kind of weird to see Rambo being portrayed in this game like this. And yeah, I know in the latest Rambo movie he ripped someone's throat out with his bare hands, and so they gave it to him as a fatality, and it's just I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, whatever. It's done. Nerds.
Yeah, it's in there.
Yeah.
What can you do?
Can't do anything about it.
As far as the gameplay style goes, so he does not at all seem like he's a zoner. He's not shooty guns zoner guy. Right. Which RoboCop is, and that's why I play him. At least in one of his variations. But the style for Rambo seems more like it's counter zoning, and even he might have a command grab, it looked like to me. So I was breaking down the footage. So he's got up close tools. he's got a roll to get in. He's got a bunch of things that seem like they're about like moving in underneath projectiles. He can crawl under projectiles, and if he does that, maybe from distance he gets a crushing blow. It looks like, and he's got like a tripwire sort of thing, which hard for me to tell if it's like proximity activated or if you just do it and it comes out. But like it's a big like maybe low hitting tripwire that has a big like wooden thing that hits the opponent's legs. And then it might be that the amplified version of that is log trap, because he's got a big log trap that takes up a lot of space.
Log trap.
But other than those things, I don't really. Oh, and then there's that guns thing where he brings out like two big shooty guns and he shoots super far, and it looks like it's a mid, so you can't duck it under the shooty guns. And that costs bar.
Under the what?
The shooty guns?
Yeah, the things you said he doesn't really have.
He has one shooty guns, as far as I can tell.
Sure.
And then he also has a bow and arrow, which might be a stance even to go into. It might not be like you can just shoot a bow and arrow whenever you want. It might be that it needs to be a stance. So he does not seem like a zoner to me. He seems more like
when does he call
about
group?
like getting in. What up?
When does he get to call group? I heard you say log trap. I just assumed you were talking about.
I mean, honestly,
Groot. No.
Honestly, he feels like he has a lot of roots in a Rocket Raccoon style. Maybe not as zoning as Rocket Raccoon can be.
The final character is Rocket Raccoon in Mortal Kombat 11.
What if I told
it all
you
ties together?
What if I told you that Rocket Raccoon is actually a Rambo?
That wouldn't make any sense because Rocket Raccoon was in the fighting game first. So that's it.
Is that the priority in the world? If you've been in a fighting game first, then
yes,
whatever
absolutely.
led up to that is less relevant.
I'm talking about.
I was trying to think if Rocket Raccoon is older than John Rambo.
I'm not talking about.
And I'm pretty sure he is.
I'm not talking about the character. I'm saying that the gameplay style roots. Just the way that Rambo plays, he's got a trap that puts people into a net. You know, he's got like tripwire things on the ground that can trigger and hit you, and he has guns. So it feels kind of like that, right? And then Rocket Raccoon attacks you with a knife as well. So it definitely, from a gameplay style, it seems like they might have taken a lot of inspiration from there.
16-Bit says in the chat that the lore here is actually that Rambo had prepared every single fight and stage with all of these traps. So imagine what kind of prep time that would have taken for Rambo here to have completely booby-trapped every single stage. He sneaks into Shinnok's Bone Temple before dawn and sets up tripwires, hidden guns, and logs. I mean, this sounds exactly like something that John Rambo would do.
I hate all of this so much. I hate it to my core, man. I hate it so much.
Yeah, that's the question right there. Is what then who would win between Prep Time Rambo and Prep Time Batman, or Prep Time Daigo, right? All three.
NetherRealm world, they turn invisible. They couldn't sneak into Shinnok's tomb or whatever the hell you're talking about. Why can John Rambo do it? This is so stupid. I hate this shit so much.
In his intro, or maybe this is one of his special moves, he like comes up from the ground in
the mud.
Yeah, in like mud and leaves and stuff. Yeah, so that's how he's just crawling around unbeknownst to anybody.
All right, sure, man.
Look.
Well, see, what happened was Chronica instilled him with the power of a chameleon, and so his skin can actually change color now into, I don't know.
Come on, man. Look, Jack. They're making some skins as well for some of the ninjas to be Reptile, basically. So cool. I guess Reptile deconfirmed.
Dang, Reptile went the way of Melina, and even Melina managed to get out of that.
Didn't Katana get a Melina outfit?
I mean, Katana basically has like Melina's special moves, so I'm not sure how that's gonna work out. We'll see.
They'll just give Melina
Thanks to Noah's Wild for the subscription.
They'll give Melina some of Katana's moves now, so that they're the same character. Dude, what if Melina came out and was just turned out to be a skin for Katana? Like, I just really want to just find.
That would be pretty sick.
I just want to
Dude,
find
I
a
would
way
be
to.
so happy for Ed Boon. That would be the greatest troll of all time.
That actually would be the best.
That would be
I just
incredible.
want to make the Molina fans miserable. That's all it is right now.
Yeah,
so.
that would just be the biggest middle finger of all time.
Yeah.
Well, I guess the timer is out for this one, but I'm very much looking
yeah.
forward to crawling underneath RoboCop's guns and then doing my command grab, crushing blow as Rambo against Alex Murphy. That sounds like
How
it's
does
going to
that
be
even
hilarious.
work? Like, how does Rambo even fight RoboCop? That's the
What
problem.
do you mean?
Like, I just feel like Rambo. One of the biggest problems with Rambo, honestly, is I feel like he would just get his ass kicked by everybody. So.
Are you serious? Rambo's taking on armies of huge numbers.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, like Tubo said, like these guys like shoot fireballs and like teleport
turn
and
invisible.
shit.
Yeah, teleport and shit. What?
Oh well. Yeah, that's
Not
true.
Rambo.
Stryker.
I mean, like, dude, if Schwarzenegger can beat Predator, why not, right? Whatever.
I mean, there's a reason why Stryker has never returned, right? Because he wouldn't be able to keep. Anyways.
Regular dude, Striker, just out on patrol.
just
All right, that's it.
Just a mall cop,
Yeah.
unhinged.
Dude, if they put Paul Blart in the game, I would be so happy, dude. Like that would actually be hilarious. Like just have him come in rolling in on the Segway, you know, and then he'd just be like, You can't destroy the stores here in this mall, and then they fight, and then he like Paul Blart actually like kills things and destroys things. He like shoots missiles out of the Segway, and like he has fatalities.
Stores in his mall while he's on the stage pit.
Dude, like his fatality, he jumps off the Segway, he grabs the Segway, and he just like cracks it, and you just go. Then he like cracks it in half, shoves the handles into your stomach. Then he hits a button, and then the whole Segway blows up and everything. So like
That sounds more like the fatal blow, not the fatality, I would say.
okay, fair enough. But I think that would be
Also, I would
knows
say,
in his head.
I feel like Paul Blart would be in the game if they just gave Bo Raicho a Striker outfit. I think we could just do it real easily that way.
No, but they actually have to get Kevin James to do the voice and have it be Paul. Like it has to be like Paul Blart wins fatality.
Okay, I'm in it. I'm in.
I mean, I think that would be amazing. So,
All right,
What's the next
rambled on.
topic? We're talking about nothing.
We've rambled on. Here we go. So, anyway,
Mall
about Rambo.
Cop wins fatality.
Mall Street Fighter basically has the Paul Blart.
Yeah, they
and
do.
Peter.
Peter.
Yeah. All right. This next one. Let's start the old timer out there on the side. So Twitch. Let's talk about Twitch and whatever's going on there. In recent times, Twitch has been eviscerating many channels because of DMCA complaints, which are complaints by rights holders who own, whether it's music or games or movies or whatever it is, they own whatever content is being shown on Twitch, they believe. And so they're sending messages to Twitch basically being like, hey, take down this stuff. And Twitch is like, okay, Twitch does. So we talked about that the other day, right? I talked about that last week. Now there is a little bit more to say about that for a couple of reasons. One is that the Recording Industry Association of America has begun to complain about Twitch a lot more. So they own the rights, or at least their members own the rights to lots of different musical compositions. And they're mad that Twitch and people who are on Twitch are using their songs and not like directly paying for it. Twitch says that they are in fact paying in some ways, that they do have some programs that are actually like giving money to recording artists. I don't know. That was the first time I had heard about that when they wrote that, but maybe that exists. And in addition to that, some dude whose name was something I've already forgotten.
Alex Hutchinson.
Thanks. Yeah. So anyway, Dudeface said streamers worried about getting their content pulled because they used music that they didn't pay for should be more worried by the fact that they're streaming games they didn't pay for as well. It's all gone as soon as publishers decide to enforce it. The real truth is that the streamers should be paying the developers and publishers of the games they stream. They should be buying a license like any real business and paying for the content they use.
Yikes. Yeah, imagine waking up every morning and you get ready to go to work, and you look in the mirror, and you're that guy. That has to be rough.
It could be. It could be.
That has to be rough.
I mean, it's such an ancient take. This take is from the 1980s. This is the 1970s take on things. Since we have had the ability with the internet to share things illegally or legally, it has not been the case that like the music industry died. Nobody's making music anymore. Like, no, of course not. There's more music being made now than ever there was. And the same kind of thing has happened with games and movies. Yeah, you can, if you want to, you can go steal that stuff. Or to be very precise, the Supreme Court has actually made a differentiation between stealing and infringement. They're not the same things. You can infringe that stuff if you'd like. But at the same time, at least until COVID, movies are doing fine and the game industry is doing better than ever. So there is not like this argument for like, if you use stuff that other people have made, that you're going to cause their markets to die. It's actually never been that way.
Yeah.
It's a very old argument, and I'm not surprised that it exists still for some people, at least. Like, if you were already 55 years old in 1990 or whatever, the last 30 years, like, don't probably seem like that long to you, you know? So, like, whatever positions you had in 1990 are, like, basically how you think about the world even still.
I mean, honestly, it really hasn't seemed that
almost
long.
my entire life, you know? And it's the entire life of tens of millions of people.
Yeah.
And so things have changed a lot since then, but some of the leaders have absolutely not.
Man,
Yep.
I don't think David heard my jokes.
Oh, no, I didn't.
I said, no, it hasn't felt that long.
Yeah, okay. All right.
Look. So one thing I want to mention here is that Twitch literally has a bounties program, right? Where companies pay you to play their game on stream.
That's true.
Right? Like, do we not know how much streaming games actually helps a game? Where do you think Fall Guys and Among Us would be without Twitch right now?
Dude, Among Us was nowhere even with Twitch, though, for like 2 years.
Right.
But I mean, obviously, yeah, Twitch is exactly what made it blow up.
Like, there was a huge ad for Among Us the other day when one of the most popular Congress people in the country played Among Us with some of the other most popular Congress people and content creators in the country. What a tremendous advertisement.
Dude, let me tell you this right now, by the way. I watched some of the highlight clips, and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez was absolutely hilarious, dude. There was one clip I saw that I retweeted where she accidentally reported herself, and it was just like the most genuinely adorable thing ever because she didn't realize what she did. And then somebody was like, okay, so AOC found the body, and she was like, crap, what the hell? I found him in electrical. Dude, it was it was like the most hilarious thing. I was dying so badly. It was so funny, dude. Oh god.
She's rad. I mean, you know, obviously we're all big in favor of AOC on this channel. Yeah. Probably no surprise to anybody. Yeah. Anyway, as far as games go, yeah, of course, Twitch is basically a giant infringement machine on the one hand. That's what it's been the whole time because it's very rare that people explicitly have rights to stream whatever games, but also has clearly been a tremendous engine of getting people to know about games, of connecting with audiences. Esports as an industry exists as it does now because of streaming. Like that's why it can exist even. So it's just been so important, and it's real short-sighted for Dude Face to say something like that streamers should be worried that they are streaming things that are owned by third parties. I mean, they are. Like, that's true. Like, these are, in some respect, what he's saying is accurate, as is the RIAA when it says that, like, people are playing songs without directly paying them. That's true. And they actually do have the rights to stop that if they'd like. I hope they don't. They'd be pretty stupid to do that, but they could.
Someone said in the chat that Google had to issue an official statement about Dude Guy. Just because about Stadia Guy, and Stadia Guy even removed Stadia from his bio or something like that. I can't even remember.
Yep. He did. I don't think he was trying to pull one over on anybody. I think he was just like he's he's not like some huge account, you know. He's got like a few thousand followers. Probably never
Right.
expected to blow up as he did. It's just
Right.
it's just like such a nuclearly bad take that
Right.
you know, here we are talking about
It
it.
blew up and got blown up, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
I
But yeah, it
mean,
is a very old mindset. I don't know, it bothers me to some degree that this guy, just to look at his face, like he's our age ish, you know, give or
just
take
to
some
look
years.
at his face.
I mean, he's similarly aged. So, like, how did he live through the times of like the '90s and Napster and Kazaa and Grokster and like just not and have been enough of a nerd to ended up as a game developer and not have like had some of that ethos? I feel like that's how did you avoid that? It was like marinating
Probably
all of us at
didn't.
the time.
He probably didn't. It just,
I mean,
you know, he doesn't link those experiences
Right.
together.
I mean, look,
That
like I
might
said,
be.
the very first time I actually streamed music on a stream, I was playing Breath of the Wild, and I just decided, no, it was streaming Street Fighter actually, because I was muting myself on stream, so I just started playing music. And you know, my taste in music is very eclectic. I don't listen to a lot of like the stuff that a lot of other people listen to. And sure enough,
Yeah,
a lot
right.
of people are like, "Yo, what is this band? This sounds really cool. I want to find out more about this band." You know, like literally, we're free advertising for people, and it's not like people are coming into our stream specifically to listen to the music. The music is not the performance. You know what I mean? Like, so the music is actually just kind of something that's adding to the atmosphere and the ambiance, and it's not like by playing the music in our stream we're robbing people. Like, we're not holding concerts like, time to play some Chibo Mano on my stream, come all you Chibo Mano fans and listen to all their music for free, because if you're fans of them you probably own all their stuff anyway. You know, like it just like doesn't make any sense. Like, we're doing nothing except helping them. You know, like
If you yeah, there's I mean, I agree with you. I think that is the economics of the situation, and I feel like all the stats and data back that up. But if you view your rights as in a narrow way of I should be paid each time a thing is consumed, which is a word that I really hate, but that people who have this mindset use, then you're mad about these things.
right.
Which I think that's a reasonable like result of that position. I just think that position is oftentimes it like ignores how humans have dealt with art and culture all the time. Like we have never sectioned things off. This is basically a new idea that we've tried out from like 1970s on, and in some ways it's like pretty sucky that you can't just you like a song, cool, I'm just going to add it into my song. That's just how humans have always been forever. Or I like how this character's doing stuff in a book that I read. I'm going to add that character to my book, which is how it's always been as well. And now we have this new system for the last 50 years, and it's really restrictive. And it also promotes this idea that each thing that I invent, I'm some godlike author who has the ability to create things out of whole cloth, when in fact all of us are inspired by all the art that we create is in the context of this culture that we're in, and we're all looking at things that other people are doing constantly and using that as fuel for our own creativity. That's like how this whole process works. So I wish that was something that was more treated in the law as something that is reality, rather than what the law tries to do, which is to say that each of us is coming up with stuff on our own and we can control the rights exclusively. It gives people those rights. It's not trying to. I just think that it's just a creation of a strange way to handle business and law. I wish it wasn't that way.
All right. Well, we're way over that.
Yeah, I mean,
Let's move on.
There's a lot of interesting, counterpoints and stuff like that talking in the chat, which definitely makes a lot of sense, because there are situations where a group or a company will use your song and you don't want to back that kind of product and stuff like that, right? So those kind of situations do happen. I know we're over topic, but I'm just curious, like, how do we resolve those kind of situations?
Look, I'm not calling for no copyright at all. I just want, maybe let's not have it be that it's the entire life of somebody plus 70 years after that. Like, maybe it doesn't need to be that long, or maybe you should have to register for it rather than getting rights automatically, so that if it's like economically important for you, you can protect it. But if it's not, then you can like decide not to spend the money to protect it. I think there's a lot of really reasonable things that you could do for changes, and in fact, many of those were the law back in the 50s, but we've changed it since then.
Right. Okay.
Anyway. Tubo fascinated by this conversation. I know.
Yep.
I know it.
Oh, here's bird. Blah blah blah.
Yeah. Wah, 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 wah. Okay. Well, in that case, you want to move on to our next topic here?
Sure. But that's the interview with Persia. So
Yeah, damn, that's what I've been waiting on. Let's go. Oh wait, are we gonna take a break first? We need to get her in there.
yeah, let's take a quick break, and then we will get her into here, the chat, and we will talk with her after that. So,
Yeah.
all right.
Sounds great.
Let's take care of this real quick here. Okay, be right back, guys. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Tuesday show. My name is James Chen, and I am joined by Tubaware and Ultra David. How's everybody going out there?
Yup.
Hey, we're here.
And
Moving on to the next thing now, which is our guest interview, which we try to have every week. We've been pretty good about that, actually, over the last several months.
Yeah.
Thanks in large part to the guy on my right. Left? My left, your stage right. Anyway.
You're welcome.
And-
You're welcome. No problem.
Oh, jeez. This time we have Persia on.
Hello.
Let's move into the interview.
What is
Alright.
up, everyone?
Hi, Sam.
Hi.
I forgot to apply the differences. Let me do this
Oh, no.
quick. Yes. Bam. There we
Bam.
go. Bam. Just like that.
What's
Okay.
up? I'm that Sage guy. Oh, there we go.
What's up, Persia XO? And for those of you on the stream who aren't familiar with Persia, why don't you let them know your history in the fighting game community?
Oh God. Well.
Do you want one of
Really?
us to?
Anybody who doesn't know, but yeah, go for it.
A really long time ago, I was just a young girl who wanted to play games, and I ended up like kind of. It's actually a funny story, actually, because I was playing FPS games like back in the day in Texas, and I'd never played a fighting game really a day in my life. Like I have played like with my brother, but I didn't know I was playing fighting games at that time. I was just like a button masher, and he would just ring out me and all the time. That's all I really remember. And then I ended up moving to New York, you know, learning fighting games, playing. Marvel came out. And then I just played a lot of Marvel, went to a Big E tournament. I got on the mic for fun because there was no one around. So I just got on and to help out. And Big E was like, yo, you should get on more. And then it like snowballed from there. And then some years passed. I started doing more like gigs, bigger gigs, and I get like my first opportunity to do hosting, which was super fun. I had always felt like it was something I would want to do. I just never knew if I would have a big opportunity for it because at that time, like the FGC wasn't really in like we're gonna have a host for every event type of position. It was more like, yeah, we got some commentators. If they're not also playing in the match, then maybe we'll pick up somebody who's around type thing. So then, honing my skills a little bit with the hosting and whatnot. I was like really back and forth with like leaving my day job at the time, and I eventually did, but I did it way too soon. It was not smart, so I continued to struggle for a few more years, and then eventually I found out about this position at GameSpot, which was really exciting because it also showed up at a time where I was really at a crossroads. Like I really wasn't sure if I was doing anything right or if it was gonna like really pay off, and like kind of going all in on it isn't the smartest thing, but I was like still holding out hope. And then it ended up working out and I got the position. I cried so hard. I freaked out the HR person who like called me for the offer. And I've been there now like almost 2 years now. And it's awesome. It's like my dream job. I'm still super happy to be here every day. I'm like, oh snap. And they've still been super awesome about letting me do FGC stuff, and like I just did the Street Smarts thing. Shout out to Carolyn for really like making that whole thing happen.
Right.
I
think it was really, really useful information for you know, not only just players, but even people in the industry who are interested in, you know, other stuff besides playing. So that was really awesome. And, you know, it's cool that I still get to do a little bit, although I do miss like really being around more. I do feel like I am more far removed than I once was.
Yeah.
You're not missing much in person right now, so
True.
I also miss actually hanging around.
Right.
And like,
yeah.
that's
I mean-
really it. Like that's the problem we all have right now. So you're not alone.
I mean, one of the things, obviously, I mean, there's a lot. I know you kind of jumped around and everything, but I mean, there was at one point in time where you and Nina were doing a lot of commentary at NLDC. That's kind of where you got got to hone your craft a little bit. Then you got gigs at Evo, and then eventually you did top 8 for Marvel at Evo, and a lot of people consider you like one of the, their favorite or the best commentator for Marvel 3. So, you definitely have a lot of credentials and a lot on that FGC resume.
Yeah, I guess I kind of glossed over that. I don't know. I just feel like there's so many amazing people in the community and so many like amazing commentators on top of that when you kind of look at the pool, it's hard to be like, yeah, I'm so detrimental to like FGC commentary. I'm like, I don't know if I truly feel that way, but I definitely feel like it was some of the best times of my life, and I miss Marvel 3, and I definitely tried to do parsec things, but my brain can't like handle the setup, so that's a work in progress. But
Yeah, because I mean, a long time ago, and I know I've mentioned this to you before, but you were probably one of the first prominent women commentators in the FGC, and I had mentioned that I felt like a lot of what you were doing was very important for the scene because, frankly, I feel like you were one of the first ones that were at that top 8 Evo level, and you really kind of built that craft and kind of opened the doors for a lot of people, I think.
yeah, I mean, I didn't even know I was actually the first official female like commentator for Evo until they had told me when I was like right about to go onto the mic, and I was like, oh yeah, no pressure, thanks.
Man.
This is a lot. And then
Yeah.
but the cool thing was to see people messaging me and like contacting me saying, man, my daughter really loved watching you, or like other women saying, man, it was really awesome seeing you up there, it makes me want to do it. And my response is always like, well, you definitely can, because I didn't start playing and doing all this so I could be a commentator. It just happened. And these are people who are already doing that. They're playing and they love these games. So I just feel like people at the time didn't know that they could pursue it, and now that they do know, I feel like it's opened a lot of doors for people, which is great. So if I've had a helping hand in that, then that is awesome, because at the end of the day, I want everybody to like reach their goals and like find their calling.
That's like really admirable of you, Sam. But Shayon and Anti-Particle in the chat said Tubo vs Persia Marvel 3 win and Tubo vs Persia commentary battle win. I just want everyone to know Sam don't want it on either of those fronts, and we're gonna leave it at that.
Oh boy, oh Tubo.
I will body Sam.
All right,
Oh,
look,
Tubo.
I'll say this, right? Well, actually, you know what? It was Nina, I think, the one that was bragging about her Tetris skills. I don't think you were bragging about them, Persia, so I don't have to.
I mean, I do love me some Tetris, but
All right, so I
like low-key have 2 world records in Tetris that are just only mine because they're uncontested. But
What do you have?
there are 2 Guinness World Records in Tetris DS. There was like time trial number 1, and then there was another like speed trial. It was like one of the random mini games. I was like, ooh, there's no one like going for this score. Let me just like slip in there for a
I
second.
mean, you're the best.
Definitely, yeah. That's just as legit a world record as anything else.
Yeah, I mean, you're the best.
All right, time to go knock down this record here, okay?
Wow.
I'm coming after you.
And shout outs to Next Hit Wins, because like I remember mentioning it on Twitter that I never got a chance to actually buy that book that had my little 2 lines of text with my name on it that year. And they found a copy of it on Amazon, old 2013 Guinness Book, and they mailed it to me. I was like, this is the sweetest gift I've ever
That's so cool.
had. So, yeah, super awesome. Shouts to them for that.
Nice. Oh man. All right. So I mean, it's interesting because you had said that you didn't expect like to do commentary. That wasn't one of your goals. It just kind of happened, and like I said, I mean, from the NLBC days to what you were doing at Evo, the growth in your commentary was tremendous. I mean, you definitely honed that craft and such. I mean, do you feel like though that's kind of what led you into the role of being a host and being hired by GameSpot to be an on-camera personality?
I think the trajectory of it was really interesting because, like, when I think back on it, like in elementary school, middle school, I was like in those gifted and talented classes, whatever. But they also like we got to do cool stuff like host the morning news for the school on the little screens and stuff like that. So when I think back on it, I'm like, man, I kind of low key was like kind of familiar with this back then, like at least being on camera, but I didn't really realize it. But when I first joined the FGC and I had went to New York, do you guys remember Seb? I think it was like from FADC or something like that.
Sure, yeah,
Oh, Seb,
yeah. He was like streaming a bunch of stuff. No one was around, and he asked me to get on. This was for Street Fighter 4, and I'm telling you, I was like a week into playing. I just learned how to low floor fireball from Stanford like a week before. And he tells me to get on the mic. I completely froze. I was like straight up like mom spaghetti, like could not say a single word. It was really, really bad. I got up and I was like, I'm never doing that again. Never, ever doing that again.
Man.
Then, so it was interesting that when Marvel 3 came out and I was playing it a lot, it really just does come with like confidence because I was playing Marvel way more.
Yeah.
For sure.
And then after playing Marvel more and then also playing Street Fighter more throughout it, I had gotten on Street Fighter 4 commentary randomly, like very, very brief moment, and I held my own and I was like, nice, okay. It's definitely down to like a confidence thing. You know, I definitely knew nothing at the time, and I'm not the type to like riff off and, you know, like be funny on the spot and improvise and like fill that dead air with like, you know, something else valuable. Like I'm definitely not that type. and not at that time either. So it was interesting, but confidence and like really like knowing and playing goes a long way. And I think that's what helped because I was playing a lot.
I mean,
As far as go.
No, I
for
just
it.
want to say I just really like what Sleazy says in the chat. He's like, I've done commentary at a local for Smash, and it was then that I learned that commentary is way harder than it looks, and that's absolutely true. So
Yeah, it has its own sort of fundamentals that you need to learn and improve at, of course.
Sure.
But how did you go about doing that? What was that process for you? It's not just about getting stronger at the game, although I agree that certainly makes you more confident and you feel better and that, you know, you're less nervous as a result. I definitely think that's true. But as far as improving the rest of your commentary game, how did you manage that?
I almost feel like in general, even like day-to-day speaking with people, like I tend to like form the way I speak around like people around me. And I feel like that was a big factor in my commentary, especially when I was starting, was just finding out how I could best support my co-commentator and kind of just like, you know, instead of trying to be like, oh yeah, you know, I'm Persian, I'm like in this duo. It was more like, oh yeah, it's my co-commentator and I'm here to like make it all smooth and like, you know, be the butter and all that. So
be the butter.
Be the butter, you know?
Okay.
And I think, I don't know, that just helped me not only like learn how to commentate with people, but also learn more from my co-commentators. And then over time, I was able to get a little bit more comfortable with me as a commentator. I even did, oh my gosh, I remember, which in hindsight, especially now with the pandemic, is not a good idea, but I remember Absolute Battle 5. I definitely had a cold, and I solo commentated for 6 hours straight on NyQuil. And I immediately took a NyQuil, went to sleep, and woke up the next day and commentated top 8.
Jeez.
It was crazy.
Yeah.
And
what year was that, would you say?
I want to say it was like whatever year Absolute Battle 5 was. I like time is just a concept to me now.
Yeah.
But like
really-
that's a long time ago at this point, right? Because that's
Yeah.
It was a while
like
ago. I
FGC
mean,
commentary hasn't worked like that in a while.
no offense to my co-commentator for that following day, but his name was Captain America, and I was like, "What's your real name?" And he told me his real name, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm calling you that instead today."
Captain America.
Genius.
He was a great
Wow.
person. But the name, I was like, "Yeah, you're not gonna catch me on stream saying." I mean, now I'm like, whatever, it's out there. But
Yeah.
at the
As
moment, I
you're
was like,
saying
I'm not
it.
saying this all top 8, you know, you.
Genius.
So I guess, I mean, obviously, you know, we're talking about this, and it sounds like it's been like, oh my gosh, Persia rise to success, like, and everything, and like everything is going great, but obviously
Yeah.
that's not the case, especially, I mean, if this is something that you would be willing to talk about, you know, for encouragement for other women trying to get into esports, but I'm sure being a girl, you've probably run into a lot of obstacles as well. I mean, is that something that you want to talk about? Some of the hardships that you've run into because you know you're a woman trying to make it in the world of esports.
I mean, obviously the biggest things, like no one ever thinks you deserve where you are, what you've accomplished, like, you know, but those things are just like, it's like air, you know, it's like wind in the air at this point. It's like, whatever. It's there, and there's nothing I can do about it. And, oh, also for the record, I definitely had a blast doing that 6-hour solo commentary, even though I was sick. So
Yeah.
it might have sounded like I was complaining, but it was actually super fun. And it was just funny to think about circumstances. But anyways, what was the... Oh, yeah, obstacles. I mean, it's kind of tough to say, really, because, you know, if I'm going to be real, I feel like at the time, because of the people I was around, I was affiliated with, it was kind of like a shield and a little bit of a barrier. So I probably took a lot less of the brunt than I would have if that wasn't the case, even though I did experience like nonsense. Most of it's just like about how you look and, oh my God, you need to lose weight and this and that. It's like, okay, whatever. Like, what does that have to do with me playing the game and me talking about the game? And then if I like tell you to money match me right now, you don't want to go. So it's like, what do you want me to say? And on top of the fact, it's like these people, they're just brave online, because I really have not had anybody in person like come and tell me anything like that. I feel like the closest thing was someone came up to me and they were like, at Evo, by the way, which is even more funny. They were like, have you seen this compilation video someone made of you about your worst commentary ever? And I was like, no, I haven't, but thanks. And he was like, do you want to see it? I was like, no, I don't want to see it at all, please. Like, you know, I already like really hate seeing my own content in general. So it's like, that was like level 10 anxiety moment right there. I'm like, oh, okay.
Who does that? Hey, if you think a really terrible thing about you, let me show you. Come with me. I'll show you now.
Yeah.
No, I don't want to see that, you dingus.
It was actually this guy who made the compilation. in the first place.
Yeah, I know, right?
Oh, man.
Have you seen my video? I mean, the video of you on.
Yeah.
Like, to be fair, I don't know if they meant it in a malicious way or if they were just like, because they were also trying to explain how they thought League of Legends commentators weren't good, and then they like followed up with that. So I was like, okay, maybe you're trying to tell me it is good, but I don't know how like my video of my first commentary. I'm like,
Yeah,
trust
if you're a fan, just say so.
Yeah.
Yeah. I could probably do without that.
Oof.
Yeah, probably just one of those situations where he's like, I want to talk to Persia. What do I talk about?
Right, yeah. He like instantly walked away and was like, stupid. Classic, like
We've
trying to
all
talk to
been
somebody.
there.
Yeah.
I feel like I've done that too. Like, go and talk to somebody, and then you're walking away like, why did I say that?
Yeah,
stupid
I've been there, of course, yeah.
Not me. I've never made that mistake. I always say exactly what I mean and mean what I say.
Yeah, so anyway, Persia, no, I mean, like, because you had talked about how, you know, going down commentary and all this stuff was kind of like not what you were intending, I guess, but, you know, like, now that you are at GameSpot and you're doing all this hosting stuff, I mean, do you consider this kind of like a dream job at this point?
100%. Like, I really, really love this job, and I really feel super comfortable and like confident. It's like the last time I felt this confident in something was when I was at my prime commentating Marvel 3. And after Marvel 3 kind of simmered down a bit, there was like some serious soul searching with like, what do I do? You know, other fighting games are not really hitting it for me like that.
I remember you texted me literally, what are we gonna commentate now? And you started asking me about Dragon Ball Fighter. I remember, like, I don't know, a few months after Fighters had come out, and we talked about, yeah, what do we commentate now? Because
Yeah.
it was over.
And
It was done.
honestly, like, Dragon Ball was cool, but there are so many other commentators who actually have like a lifelong love for Dragon
Yep.
Ball in general. And honestly, I don't. So it's like, I could like the game all I want, but there are people who've had a lifelong attachment to this IP that really deserves this time right now. And like, I don't feel like that's like my game anyway. So
Yes.
that's why like I did do a few like Dragon Ball events, which was super fun because it is like, I mean, sorry, it's pretty much like Marvel, but it is fun. But yeah, for that reason, I was just like, yeah, I'm not really playing it. But when this Project L fighting game comes out, I'm pretty hyped for that. I'm not gonna lie.
So I'm gonna take over the role of Tubaware for this interview, but you know, if GameSpot, you know, wants to hire any other host or anything like that, you know, I'm just saying, you know me, and you know.
So what kind of stuff we've been talking a lot about? We've been talking a lot about commentary, but what exactly are you doing now for people who haven't been paying attention?
So my position now is super fun because I get to work a lot on sponsored content, which also means I get to work with a lot of other cool creators and influencers and stuff like that on top of like really cool brands. And most of it's like usually for stuff that's up and coming out soon, which is also really nice because, you know, I was like head down in fighting games for so many years that I missed a lot of like games, and my backlog of games just became so massive. So the fun part has been being able to get back to like my general gaming roots, like back when I was a kid, seeing even some of my favorite like games come back, like Crash Bandicoot. You know, Crash Bandicoot and like Yoshi's Island were like the first 2 games I ever beat with my mom. You know, she helped me get through all the levels I couldn't get through. So it's like I have like sentimental attachment to like a lot of these games. Like, when's the new F-Zero? Because that was definitely me and my dad's favorite. So
Nice.
it's like nice to get back to that and like not be a freaking try hard all the time, because I feel like when you play fighting games, like you have to do try hard all the time.
Yeah.
You have to be the best all the time, and oh, you dropped that combo, well, you don't deserve to come to Evo Top 8. Like, okay, I guess.
Dude, how many times has Punk been washed up now, you know?
Yeah, seriously.
But yeah, no, it's true. And I think this is the experience for many of us in the FGC, that we end up focusing so strongly on fighting games. We kind of begin to ignore other game genres, even if we had played that stuff before we got hardcore into the FGC. I know that's my experience, certainly. I play much less.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we've talked about a lot of, you know, FGC stuff and everything like that, but one thing that we haven't gotten to that somebody mentioned in the chat, tell me a little bit about XO Academy and how that came about.
Oh, man. I really love XO Academy. Like, when I started it, it was because I really just wanted to give back, I guess.
Well,
No,
what is the XO Academy for those who aren't aware of it? So
XO Academy is a 4-week training program, and it's like super intensive, very vigorous training program where I handpick one player, you know, one woman in the community who's looking to take their game to the next level, and not only their game but their entire esports profile, so to say, to the next level. And I pair them up with a hand-picked coach. I try to find really good matchups, and you know, they also learn not only gameplay stuff but physical therapy with Kate McGee. We have Mama Dow, Carolyn Dow, rebranding, also teaching branding and marketing. So very fitting right now. Let me get it right. Which is, it's super awesome. Amanda Stevens, she teaches media training to all of our players, and it kind of covers all of these things. We also have like our electives too, so if we have someone interested in commentary, we got James Chen to roll through, and I added like the commentary section of it, so whether someone's interested in like content creation, shout out to Korea Gaming, that's our coach for content creation. Cosplay, Vampy Bitme, she's our coach for cosplay. So whatever secondary interest the player might have, I paired them up also with a session with like a special skills coach, that's what I've called it, so that they can also have something as a backup. Because if there's anything I've learned so far, it's like, it's really hard to be a player only. Yes, you can definitely use that as a launching pad, but you have to have more. You have to have, everyone has more skills than just one skill, even if they don't realize it. Some people don't realize they have a second skill, or third, or fourth. And, I feel like I'm kind of proved that. I, at one point, said I was never going to commentate again. And then now
I think we've all said that at one point.
So yeah, it's been really cool to like help people kind of see the power within themselves. And also I make the 4 weeks very, very intensive as kind of a ankle weight training type thing. You go through this 4 weeks, you can survive this 4 weeks. Then when you have your own time to make your own schedule, that's a little bit more flexible for you. It doesn't feel so daunting, and it feels like something that you can actually keep up for a long time. And, stay consistent, because consistency is key. And the cool thing, well, pre-COVID, was that at the end of the 4 weeks, we would send the player to a major event. So, like last year, we sponsored 8 players. I think we went to like 5 total events. It was really awesome. Bunch of different games. This year, we were only able to have one player and one wave, but it was still really awesome. Probably one of my favorite matchups, which was with Athena and Cuddle Core for Tekken 7.
Yeah.
Like, definitely hands down one of my favorite, only because I felt like the matchup was so great. They both learned so much from each other. And then Athena did end up getting picked up by an organization afterwards. And it's really exciting to see that, we're at like above 75% on players getting picked up by somebody after the program.
Dang.
That's awesome.
Which is really, really high. Some of them are no longer like with the groups that originally signed them back then, but they're still doing amazing things, or maybe now with another organization, and they also know their worth, and they feel comfortable when they're getting themselves into. And that's the most important part, honestly, is like, ever since I felt like, knowledge is power and confidence is key, and all that really does come from you feeling like you know what you're doing, and you know what to expect. So that's why I try to throw at them in the program, so that when they go out on their own, they know what to do. They don't feel scared or anything like that. And then they also get some, cool opportunities in the future as well, because shout outs to Red Bull for being a huge partner with EXO even from the start. Next year, we have some awesome things in the works, and even our favorites from the first year and the first season, we're going to be seeing those ladies again. It's going to be really exciting. I can't talk anymore about it, but it's going to be super awesome.
I mean, just like as an example, it was the EXO Academy that got Samurai to train Marine, right?
Yes. Like, Marine was already super strong too, so it was really perfect.
Yeah, and then that was because I remember when she beat Dogura.
Oh my god!
At Evo, I remember. Was that Evo or was that Combo? It was one of the events.
CEO.
I remember because Samurai was there, like, coaching her beforehand and like cheering for her and everything like that. So definitely, you had a big part in that as well. So
yeah, when it comes to picking the players and the coaches, like, there are even more women in the community who've applied that I feel like deserve to go through the program, but I haven't found like the right coach for them yet, or timing and scheduling is not lining up. And honestly, I don't want to just pick a top player and then be like, all right, train this person. No, I want it to work. I want the matchup to be favorable. I want like for Marine and Samurai, for instance, we already knew Marine was very good.
Yes.
But her mental fortitude was not very strong. And Samurai, on the other hand, I feel like he is very good at learning how to calm himself. We had seen him time and time again, breathing techniques, calming the mind. That was what I really wanted her to learn. So that's why I put them up together, so that because I know once she was able to control her emotions, she would be able to do anything she wanted to. I was 100% sure she was going to get into top 8 at that event, actually. I was like, oh, she's in there. I remember sitting at my desk in GameSpot because I started working GameSpot like a few months into EXO Academy's birth. So that also threw a little bit of a wrench in the program because I am kind of like a one-woman show. Like I'm doing like the video editing and the social media and all this other stuff, the graphics and whatever. So it was like super crazy. But I remember sitting at my desk. It's super quiet around me. She beat him, and I'm just like, let's go! I like jumped up, I like banged my knee on the table. I'm like literally in tears. I was like tearing up, and then everyone just laughing at me because a lot of people at GameSpot actually knew me from the FGC, and they had seen my commentary and stuff like that. Like even on my first day when they were touring me around the office, they're like, "Oh my God, Persia, I love your Marvel 3 commentary. This is awesome." So it was actually really cool. So they just laughed at me, you know. It's fine. But I was
They were big fans, so they just laughed at me.
Expected.
Oh man.
Well, we are coming towards the end of this. Is there anything else that you'd like to talk about?
I guess, I mean, nothing majorly important, but I've also started making clothes because that's been fun.
Yeah.
Like I invested in a little drawing tablet this year because that was my like quarantine hobby I wanted to pick up. I was like, if I'm gonna be stuck inside, I'm gonna learn something new. All right. So drawing and like manifesting what I picture in my brain has been my my quarantine hobby. I've been making like prints that are all like fighting game related, and like I have like these flowers and arcade stick stuff. So if you guys want to check it out, please feel free to do that.
Nice.
So yeah,
Cool.
that's it. Thanks for having me.
Oh man, so we were saying this before we went on the air. We're all like really happy for and proud of you for all that you've done. It's super cool.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I mean, where can people find you on social media and plug all that stuff as well?
Well, you can find me on Twitter at Persia_EXO. You can also catch me on GameSpot's Daily News on YouTube.com/GameSpot. Just check out Save State and also other sponsored content heading your way. I also help out with the live streams over there, but I also live stream on Twitch.tv /Persia_EXO. Yeah, so there you go. It was going well until it wasn't.
Yeah.
It's all good.
I mean, that was almost first take. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
But yeah, so thanks again for coming on, Sam. And I know I talked a lot of shit earlier, but honestly, I'm Persia's biggest #1 fan. I keep my little commentator's Marvel guide that she signed. It's on my display shelf back there that you guys can't see.
Spectator's guide?
Yeah, I have that.
Oh my god, memories.
Wow.
Oh my gosh, wait,
Yeah,
you have it up there? Can you show it on the camera?
I mean, I can go get it and I can put it on camera.
Okay, that's fine.
But
I mean, I'm down to wait for him to do that. I mean, if you want, so.
right, hold on.
I can give a backstory.
Hold on.
While he goes and gets it. So it's CEO 2013, I believe, and shout out to Raid, who actually wrote the guide.
Yeah.
And it was a Google document, and I was like, Raid, we need to print this. We need to get this to the people. We need to take it to events. And so I designed the thing. We had it printed through like a super official company because I told Raid, I was like, if we make it high quality, people won't throw it away and they won't throw it on the ground. If we just make it some regular old paper, no, it's glossy paper. It was printed. We had to order a minimum of 300. So we designed a spectator's guide, what people can expect when they're watching the game. If they don't, know what's going on, they might be able to read through this. And sure enough, we passed out probably like 250 of them at CEO. Not a single one on the ground or like trashed up anywhere. I was like,
nice.
Proof of concept is done.
Yeah,
and also shout outs to Jabali for letting us pass them out because we tried to ask to pass them out at other events, but got denied.
Yo, look at this. You like broke down character archetypes. I don't know whether you guys can see that, but
Team archetypes, yep. Well-rounded.
We even like got frame by frame of like what certain setups do and stuff. It was really fun to make.
Little Persia autograph.
That's awesome. Aw,
we
that's so cute.
didn't even get to a chance to talk about the effort that you and like what was it, KP Kinder Party and everybody was for trying to keep Marvel 3 alive at that.
Marvel lives.
Yeah, Marvel lives, man.
Rest in peace.
Good time.
Yeah, y'all tried your best for a while.
It's okay. We got a new generation taking over for us.
Yeah.
Well,
true.
you're on to bigger and better things now. Don't forget about us, little FGC, when you know you're.
Oh man.
What do you mean? When she's already famous, she already. That's
Yeah.
it.
No, I'm not. How
You
many
made
times
it.
people are like, "Who's Persia?" Like I'm still asking myself that too. All right, thank you guys so much for everything, for all.
Yeah, thanks for coming on again.
All right. Well, bye, Sam.
Yeah,
Bye.
later.
Take care and have a good one.
I'll see you on the
Yeah.
internet.
Yes.
For sure.
Likewise.
Cool. Well, that was cool. It's always really nice to hear from Persia. She said at the beginning of that like she misses hanging out with everybody, and I know that that's how we all feel, and none of us can do it,
Yeah.
even if we are still like more closely involved with fighting game stuff than she currently is. But yeah, I miss hanging out with her too. It was always really fun to hang out with her, and I mean, you know, the scene in general. But yeah, we always had a blast hanging out.
Yeah, I'm like getting teary-eyed. I just really miss events now.
Yeah, dude. One of these decades. One of these decades.
Sucks, man. Rough.
One of these decades, we'll get back to that.
Whew.
All right. Thanks again to Persia for coming on.
Yeah, someone asked me a while ago that, they were like, oh, yeah, excited to see you at live events again in 2021. And I was like, well,
We'll see.
Here's the thing about 2021.
yeah.
We'll see.
All right. 5-5
right.
matchup.
Yeah, we move on. So first, yes, let's talk about this bad moderators topic. Here's the backstory, which I wrote down and tried to get correct. So please let me know if any of it's wrong, but I tried to do some research on this. So the upshot is that Vicky Viper was banned from Fightcade 2 by Dine, who was a mod there. Dine had been banned by the vampire community for harassment, inappropriate touching, stalking, transphobic comments. Nevertheless, was allowed to play in and commentate an event just recently. And Vicky then saw that and like ripped on Dine on Twitter. It was like, this shouldn't be happening, basically. And then Dine banned her from Fightcade 2, which he was a mod of.
What a jerk.
Once the people who I guess run Fightcade 2 like heard about this, they undid that ban pretty quickly, and now Dine is not a moderator there anymore.
Okay.
So they did actually make changes, which is great. But this, so this is like overish now, I guess. And I actually asked her, and she said that she's going to keep playing on Fightcade 2 now because they did have that response, and because there's been so much support for her. But I think it's interesting to talk about the idea of what happens when like the mod is the jerk. I think most commonly, like, we're thinking about how to do a fighting game community code of conduct, or how to like run a Discord or a chat or whatever it is. And we have the idea that ideally whoever's moderating that stuff like should be cool. All right, that's like what we are hoping for. But that's not something that you can guarantee in each case. And so what do you do if the mod is the jerk?
I mean, what can you do? That's not good luck, That's just kind of how the internet is, usually. If the mod's a jerk, what can you do?
There's a lot of, honestly, so obviously they're just a mod. So there's levels above them. So you go to the levels above them and talk to them about that kind of situation. Now, if the person who's at the level above them also a jerk, also a problem, then honestly, that's when you boycott, right? That's how you like, let's say the Fightcade guys were like, nah, dude, like, we're totally on Dine's side for this, ban Vicky Viper, and just left it at that. I would honestly stop supporting Fightcade 2. I wouldn't use it anymore. Like, it's something that I wanted to jump on, play some Super Turbo a little bit more and everything like that. But if that was their response, then you boycott, right? Then you gotta hit them in that kind of area. There always is that kind of option, you know. It's obviously it's why, you know, we've always, all three of us have been such fervent supporters of, you know, the Black Lives Matter movements and the protests and stuff like that. That's basically how you try to go about exacting change. You know, our history is completely developed on that with, hey, look how awesome we were dumping tea into the ocean. You know, like, we brag about that all day. And, you know, now all of a sudden they're trying to tell us not to protest. Whatever, dude. Like, but, you know, bringing it back to our little situation.
Hey, man, this got off the rails real quick.
Yeah, no, but I'm just saying, like, bringing it back.
The tea party.
But just like, you know, with these kind of situations, that's what you do with toxic people in charge. You go above them, or you just boycott and protest, essentially.
Yeah, I mean, the mods in Fightcade 2 have been not great, like, the whole time. I haven't spent that much time playing Fightcade 2 yet, but when I have been in there, like, it's pretty racist in those rooms. I don't know if you guys have run into this too, but I've seen other people talking about it on Twitter.
I never look at chat. Like, not in GGPO, not in Fightcade. I've never looked at chat.
Like, you...
Because I know what to expect.
Okay, all right. Well, maybe that's why. But as you're in there, like, you're trying to be like, hey, person, do you want to play some games? And then then you get matched up. Like, that's like one of the ways you can play people in there. And so, like, I am looking at the chat, and yeah, like, it's very racist. So when I first heard about this, I wasn't, like, surprised, because I feel like things like being transphobic are often accompanied by things like racism. It's, like, not categorically true, but, you know, oftentimes. And so it didn't surprise me at all to learn that this person was a mod in there. I'm glad that this is resulting in change. And yeah, I think that, like, this was as good a way to handle it as you could. You know, the scene, basically, Vicky, like, put up on Twitter, like, hey, I got banned, heads up, everybody, this sucks. And everybody that I follow, like, was immediately like, what? Why? Well, this needs to change, like, right away. And that's great. Like, I'm really happy that was the response, and that then the Fightgate people actually took the step. So yeah, I agree. You know, there are sometimes I've run into these situations, I'm sure you guys have too, where a mod and people in power are just, they are the jerks, and you just have to either put up with it or get out of there at some point. And you may not actually have control in situations where, like, one person owns the website, right? Or one person is the, like, head person of Discord, whatever the lead situation the mod is. I don't know what you call it for Discord. But, you know, we all been there, and you just got to go at some point if you're not going to put up with it. But my experience is that that's, like, relatively rare. More commonly, you can put pressure on people, or at least on other members of the mod team, right? It's not always the case that all the mods suck. Sometimes it's like some mods suck. Sometimes the other mods may not suck. So you can put pressure through that way. You can put pressure externally, like we've been talking about. So I feel like that my experience is more commonly that, like, you can actually have an effect. But yeah, sometimes you're going to run into people who are just not going to change, and then you got to skedaddle and make your own thing.
Yeah, and a lot of times too, you're going to run into situations where you just don't have the power to, like, it's something that you definitely need to use, and, you know, you just don't have the ability to just kind of boycott it and stuff like that. We all definitely get stuck in those kind of situations as well, which is unfortunate, but, you know, I think Vicky Viper kind of did it in a proper way, just talked about it publicly, kind of exposed what was happening, and, you know, just kind of... people brought it up, people started talking about it, and, like, I've met the guys who created Fightcade and Fightcade 2. They're wonderful people. So, like, I'm glad that they had this response and took care of it right away, because it would make me very sad if they did not. Let's put it that way.
It's true as well what Shay says. Not everybody's tweet gets likes and views.
Yes.
So Vicky's been a player for a long time. She's been a top player in a bunch of different games. A lot of people are following her on Twitter. And yeah, I mean, of course, that's a big part of why this happened as fast as it did, or at all, maybe, right? Or at all. What do you do if you're somebody who doesn't have that kind of platform?
Yeah.
I mean, I know somebody like that right now who's often talk to me about a particular scene that's been toxic towards them, it's like it's a very weird situation, and it's something that I want to address and talk about, and I need to dig deeper and find out more about it, the situation and such. But they're not a person that has a voice. They don't have the ability to have that kind of response. So it is a very difficult situation for them, and I'm not sure, what the answer is at that point. That does make it a little bit harder for them.
Yeah, that's more of the, when I said what can you do, that's
Right,
more
exactly.
what I'm thinking. Like, not everybody, most people don't have thousands of Twitter followers that are all from the same hobby that would also yell at the moderators or admins or whoever. So that's what I meant. Like, most people, like, what do? You get banned and you make a new account and you get a new IP address and you try again. That's what most people probably go through when they get banned from sites that they want to be a part of. So
I do get messages not infrequently from people who have some issue like this, and I try to look into them, and I feel like most of the time it turns out that they were the jerks, the person who's like trying to tell me that like I got banned unjustly, and it turns out like it was for a very good reason. That's been mostly my experience, but not categorically. Sometimes I have been approached by people who were banned for reasons that didn't make sense from whatever it was, or that didn't make sense to me anyway. And so in some of those instances, I have helped people. I mean, I'm not going to there's not a lot of lawyering that I can do because these are all private spaces, but yeah, I mean, you could at least help spread the word. And so in those cases, there are people who may have a sympathetic ear that maybe do have bigger platforms that you can help, that you can ask for help from. That's something that you can do. But yeah, it's true that for at least some situations, for some people, there's not going to be a lot that you can do. I hope that the trend is toward having a better code of conduct. This is something we've talked about many times over this past year, especially in the light of all the really bad news that's come out in the FGC. And having spaces, or at least having some recourse, is really important, and feeling like you can have some sort of recourse. There's going to be a limit to this because the people who own Fightcade 2 will have the final say on what gets done here. But having that kind of larger organization, a code of conduct or some group or whatever it's going to be called, to put the pressure at least is now not just you as some individual with not many followers, not many people who know you. It is a bigger group at that point, and that you could at least hope for at least a little bit more leverage to come from. That's what I'm hoping for anyway. I guess we'll see.
we shall.
As far as this one, yeah, I'm glad that it ended up working out how it worked out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, before we move on, I also wanted to bring up that King Hippo put up a list of all the people that he's aware of who have been banned from stuff.
Yeah,
So
that's right.
Part of why things like this come up sometimes is that it's very difficult for many of us to know who has been banned from stuff. I don't know who put this tournament together that had Dine as a player and commentator. I don't know the story, but it's easy for me to imagine that they just hadn't heard of the fact that Vampire Arcadia had banned him from their stuff.
Right.
It's hard to follow everything. It's hard to keep track. And even me, I'm following this. I do this show every week. I have a terrible memory for who did what. I'm really bad at this. And so I've often been in the situation of my friends being like, "Oh yeah, X person, yeah, they did terrible stuff," and I'm always like, "What happened?" And sometimes they're like, "They did this to you," and I don't remember that.
I've definitely been in that situation.
You have been that guy who's told me that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So I don't have a very good memory for this. But having a document where it's all right there is maybe a way to consult sometimes if you are trying to make decisions about who gets to do commentary.
I need to be real. I think it's kind of cheesy.
The list?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I understand the need for it. I get it. I don't deny that it should exist. I just think it's kind of weird to be on Twitter publicly say, "Hey, I made this list of all the bad guys," and I don't know, man. It's just something doesn't feel right about it to me. Like, I understand that we need a list, but I don't like just advertising. Like, here's a list of shitty people. Like, I don't know, man. It just feels something about it feels weird. It just feels really weird to me.
Well,
I don't know.
I wonder, does it feel weird to you because as a scene we usually haven't taken steps like that? Like it is kind of a different take than the FGC has tended to have.
Maybe, I don't know, man. It seems like a lot. Like it should exist. It should be there. I'm like, it's really weird for me to be like, I don't like it, but it should be there. But that's just kind of where it's just weird to me to list these people for like the internet to see. Like if you're like a TO and you guys have like a blacklist that you spread between TOs, cool. But like just to have a fucking like, I don't know, like a list of people that suck in the FGC right there, like it's just a bit odd to me.
Is it more just that, you know, it was basically put together by a single person? Would you feel better if it was put together by a community of people?
Yeah,
or something
maybe,
like that?
maybe, something like there is a collective that keeps track of that stuff, sure. But the fact that it was just Hippo, and I like Hippo a lot. I talked to Tanner more than one time. You know, we've shook hands in person. You know, like he's a good dude. Nothing against him. I just think it's a bit weird. I don't know. I saw the list and I was just like, I understand this. I understand the need, and I support you in that. But also, this doesn't have to be a public document either. I don't know.
It is definitely different than we've done stuff in the past, and it's important to me to keep the idea that people can improve. That if somebody has been a jerk, that they're not necessarily always going to be a jerk.
Right.
Sometimes they are, unfortunately, but I want to make it clear that like somebody can change their behavior, because I know plenty of examples of people who have. I feel like I have, and many of my friends have. So that is possible to do. And I think the only thing in my mind that is a concern with a list like that is that it can freeze in people's minds like who was the jerk forever. And in some cases, yeah, I think that is reasonable, but maybe in other cases it's not. I'm not really sure what to think about that. But yeah, anyway, there you go. This whole moderation thing continues to be a big deal in the FGC, like it probably should be for everybody on the internet.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
All right.
Alrighty, let's move on to the next one, which is based on a tweet that was put up today.
Yeah.
Tweet that was put up today by the CyberPunk account about how that game is going to be delayed again. They're going to delay it, I think, 3 weeks longer than they had expected. So now it's coming out in December. It's not like forever, but it is a bit of a delay, longer than was expected. And they put it out as they do on the big yellow background, right? That's like what they do. And then not long after that, brand Twitter accounts started to come up with jokes of their own yellow background with whatever inanity on it to make fun of this announcement.
Yes.
Is this a cool thing to do, or is it a jerk thing to do?
See, so I don't even like how you worded the question, because you're already wording the question to make it sound like it's the jerk thing to do.
Maybe I did.
Okay. If this was part of a moderated debate, that question in the way it stands now would not be allowed. Okay. So that's my first problem. The second problem. I already know your argument behind this, David. Oh, wait, the other way, this way. Behind this, David, and the fact remains, before you even get to say your argument, because I already know it, it's not a jerk move. It's not making fun of the people working on the game. It's just making fun of the ridiculous art style that they've chosen. Like, it's so exciting and in your face, and then it's a shitty-ass announcement. Like, you'd think they would just put it on a normal-ass white background with black text and be like, look, we're sorry. We got to delay this game again. Our people are all overworked by 100 million hours a week. But instead they go, yeah, CyberPunk. By the way, guys, if you pre-order now, we'll delay the game 21 more days. Like, that's what the hell, man? It's so
I'm not sure if this is the right phrasing for it either, to be fair.
All right, let me give my no,
Your unbiased opinion.
Yeah.
I think it's not nice, because I do think that it's making fun of not just the look of the announcement, like not just the graphics. In fact, I'm not sure that that's the primary thing that it's making fun of. It's using the graphics to make it clear what the joke is, like what they're referring to. But the joke that they're referring to is the fact that there's another delay. And I mean, it is a bummer, right? If you're somebody who's been expecting that game for a while at this point. But at the same time, CD Projekt Red is known to overwork people by way too much. And so for this to be out there for another 3 weeks is 3 more weeks of probable crunch. And that's something that I don't want to support. So my take on this is that it shouldn't be... I don't want them to delay it by 3 weeks. Delay it by however long it takes to put out the game in a way that wouldn't kill your employees. Let them sleep and let them like have a family.
Sure.
So I mean, well, I'm sure you're not opposed to that. That in my mind is what it's making fun of here.
Yeah, it's just not that deep, man. It's just not that deep, David. I'm sorry, dude.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's what I got out of it. James, what do you think?
I don't know. To be honest with you, like, it's weird. They're obviously delaying it. That doesn't mean they're not crunching. From my software background history, that probably means they're crunching more. They're probably crunching more. It is just, it's a weird situation to try to make a joke out of, right? Like, if it was, like, I could understand the joke if it was making, like, if you were taking that background and color scheme and in your face, you know, totally Poochie kind of style thing here and making fun of it if it was like some other announcement, like, oh, this coming out and this is like super awesome, blah, 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 you know. But I mean, this is kind of a weird situation. It has implications behind it, so I think this wasn't the right timing to make that kind of, you know, poking fun at them kind of situation. So I feel like what they should have done, well, nobody should have done anything. I mean, I just don't think the joke was necessary, or it could have been for one of the other announcement that has something less, you know, terrible behind it, you know, kind of thing. So
Listen here, you snowflakes. You're just thinking way too hard about this joke, okay? All it is, they're making fun of the exciting art style, and then boom, terrible announcement. And they've done it multiple times. I don't think it goes any deeper than that. I think that's all the people are making fun of. Matter of fact, the majority of the brands that have been copying ArcSys, because I think they were the first one I saw use it at least. They don't even know what fucking CyberPunk is. They have no idea what CD Projekt Red is. They're just like, haha, this is the meme of the day, and throwing it up on their brand because that's what their CM does, and they're just repeating what their monkey see, monkey do. That's all. It's just the meme of the. It's not that deep.
Oh, yeah. No, that's the thing, is right. It's not the intention of the joke creators. It's not that deep. I 100% agree with that. They weren't like, hey, let's make fun of the people crunching right now. But you know, that is always the weird tightrope to walk when you with humor, right? There is either the intention to be controversial, the intention not to be controversial, but there's also a lot of the undertone and the subtext behind the joke. And a lot of times you just have to be careful. A lot of things that are considered offensive, I don't think are intended to be offensive, but you just have to kind of be wary of that and just be understanding of the situation. That's all it comes down to. So I don't think it's terrible. I don't think it's something like, oh my god, ArcSys and everybody who's doing this, shame on them. Like, I don't think that that's what it's about, but it's just to be one of those things that, like, it's good to be aware of the situation and to understand how it might appear to the poor people who are crunching and suffering right now. That's kind of the concern. You always have to be careful about that extra layer of humor. The intention, was it supposed to be evil? No. Was it that deep of a joke? No. But you just, that's part of humor and comedy in general. It always has been. When you talk to the greatest comedians of all time, that's always something that they have to think about and consider when crafting their jokes. A lot of people don't care and they intend to be offensive or something like that. But, you know, it's always a part of comedy. It's always about there. So it's always a part of it.
Yeah, I don't know. I think we're getting close to a slippery slope argument of how deep do you need to dig into everything you say before you offend someone.
Yeah.
I mean, I think James had a pretty good little encapsulation of it. I think, yeah, all right. I'll go with James. I'm going to put my vote toward James and James's take on this. That makes sense. I mean, it does suck that CyberPunk...
That's because he's like 90% on your side, so that's unfair.
What do you mean
the court is packed against me.
No, I mean, he's right, so I had to vote for him.
This is the Supreme Court.
As far as CyberPunk getting delayed, because this has happened, and just, I think it was yesterday, whoever runs the social media account was like, yeah, definitely, like somebody was like, hey, can I take off this day of work on the day that you guys have announced it's going to come out so that I can be sure to play the game that day? Are you for sure it's coming out that day? And the social media person was like, yeah, definitely. Whatever the phrasing was. Sure.
And then like 18 hours later, they announced a delay.
But that's rough. You know, that's a bummer for whoever that social media person is, because they almost never have the info about like maybe upper management.
They should have just not answered that question though.
I agree with you. Should not have answered that question.
You don't respond to that one
for sure. I definitely agree with that part at least. not a very. It is a thankless job. I feel being a community manager and social media person, like definitely not something that I would want to do.
You're mostly signing up to get yelled at by rabid fans.
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah, that's your job.
Okay,
but you know,
until you finally put Melina in the game, and then they all.
Right. Oh, man, that wasn't even a community manager. That was just Ed Boon straight up.
But also, it was everybody who works at NRS who anybody even knows publicly works at NRS.
I know. Yep. Hey, I had eggs and breakfast this morning. I had eggs for breakfast this morning.
Did you put Melina
where's Melina? Where you guys gonna put Melina in the game? You have egg on your face is what you have until you put Melina in the game. You know, it's like, gee.
Oh god, no, you're right though. I don't know how any of those people kept using.
Look at this picture of look at this video of my cat doing something really cute. You know what is cute? Melina's cute, especially when she eats people and spits out their bones. You know, like, I mean,
you're right. You are right.
And then she got put in the game. They bent to their will, I guess.
They caved.
Yeah. Ugh.
All right, I'm done with this topic.
Yeah, on to the next thing.
Are you done? Are you done? Oh man. Quoting, nobody knows I'm quoting M'Baku from Black Panther, but that's like one of my favorite lines right there.
No clue. Could have been anything.
Yeah, I know.
Nerd.
Are you done? Are you done? All right. Okay. Poll time.
All right. Number 1. What do you think about the Virtua Fighter X Esport project during this pandemic? Number 2. Do you think a group of dedicated friends can improve over time without playing other people, or will they hit a plateau? C. Do you prefer when new fighting games try to be different from their previous titles, or when they stick to the same formula? 4. Are there styles of fighting game characters that haven't been invented yet, or that have been invented but haven't been explored enough yet? 5. What can local events do to draw more interest both within and outside of the FGC? And then lastly, is there a single best way to play a character? Also, is there a single best way to play a character matchup? And the winner is number 2. Tuor's favorite number. Do you think a group of dedicated friends can improve over time without playing other people, or will they hit a plateau?
Anyone want to go first, or I can?
It depends on how tight this bubble is. Do they never play online? Is that what they mean by never playing with anyone else? Are they allowed to watch match videos online? Are they allowed to see other people play the game? Can they like? There's too many outstanding factors for me to give a real thought on this one.
So I'm just going to use a real world example here. Let's just say there's two people in their local scene. They have the ability to travel if they want to. They have the ability to watch YouTube if they want to and things like that. They have the resources to grow because that's just a part of the nature of learning fighting games these days is you have the resources to grow. Travel, not necessarily, but let's just say these guys do travel. Absolutely, they could become some of the best in the world, and we've seen it happen. It's literally happened during the Street Fighter 4 period before even online was even a viable thing with Gustavo and I Peru. Like, I feel like they've always been the example that I always like to give because I've talked to them many times and they're like, dude, nobody will play us in our scene. And this was the old school Utah scene. The current Utah scene is very different. Current Utah scene's awesome, by the way. I've got to meet them all in person and everything, and they're all super there. But in the old school scene during the Street Fighter 4 days, like, they wouldn't even invite Iperu and Gustavo to events because they hated fighting against them and they would just lose and they didn't want to have them ruin their fun kind of thing. And so they basically could only practice with each other. And I even still remember for the longest of time at the beginning, Iperu was clearly the stronger player. But as time rolled on, Gustavo just getting stronger and stronger and stronger. And look where he is now. And obviously that's been because he's been able to play more people nowadays. But, you know, the fact that they even got to that point, that Gustavo made it into Capcom Cup for Street Fighter 4, I believe, right? So, you know, I just feel like they did such a good job. They knew to keep expanding each other's limits. You know what I mean? They wouldn't be content with one person winning all the time. They were always trying to challenge each other.
Did play online a lot. That's
Yeah,
what I was saying before I made my argument. Like, if you can play online, then I'd argue you don't even need a group of friends to play with. They can honk off. You can do it by yourself like Wolfcrone did.
Yeah, Wolfcrone did do that.
Yeah.
I mean, so like if we're talking about being able to play online, completely different argument if it's just like 4 pals that only play Street Fighter together, and can they look up stuff online? If you're assuming they have all the other tools to play nowadays, they just can't play online for some reason. They're like on a Navy boat or whatever. Then yeah. I mean, as long as they have every other tool, they can certainly improve.
Yeah.
I mean, as long as you can look up other people's tech and other tutorials and things like that, obviously you're going to be able to find out. But like when I was 12 years old and I was playing Third Strike on Dreamcast with my friends, we thought jump roundhouse sweep was a dope combo, you know, like we didn't know any better. There wasn't resources out there to find out there was other better stuff.
Yeah.
Like if somebody did a parry to a fireball, we lost it, you know, like.
Yeah.
So it's different if you have these resources or not. If you can look up stuff on the internet, sure, absolutely, you can get better.
I mean, one of the biggest differences that the internet has created was that a long time ago, you would watch people play online. You would watch Vi and John Choi play, and your reaction would be, "These guys aren't even that good," you know, because they would only play with each other. And they weren't like traveling the world. Nowadays, it's really hard to argue because literally we're playing the entire world. And so when you see Punk beat somebody up, you kind of know he's the best, right? I don't think there's that much debate that Punk and Idom are like really strong players. And so you kind of have that more respect for the top players now as opposed to just assuming me and my friends could beat Vi, you know, like what used to happen on SRK all the time on the forums back in the day. So
for sure.
I think it is different with the fact that, you know, we are playing worldwide, so we do know who the best is.
And I can think of a couple examples of people who really did, almost without online play, turn just a small group of friends into being some of the best in the world. In Bahrain, where Tekken Master lived and played with just a very small handful of people, like just a couple, 2 or 3, something like that. And online play in MKX was a pile of garbage until they finally updated it, but it came out as a pile of garbage, just like it had been for the previous couple of NRS games. And Tekken Master flew to EVO, and he got to Grand Finals at EVO, and almost beat Sonic Fox to take first place in the whole tournament.
He got Sonic Fox to take off the hood, dude.
He did. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. So that is an example of somebody just from relatively nowhere doing, I think, what this question is asking. I can't really think of that many more examples of this happening, especially because online play is plausible for most people. Right, in Bahrain, not only is the online play on the game that they were playing really bad, but they just didn't have many people like around them to play, right? You're in the Middle East where there's not a huge scene otherwise. So that is something that's really rare. I can't immediately think of another example of something that's at that extreme. So I would say in general, while the answer to the question, can a group of dedicated friends improve over time? Yeah, right. We have seen it happen. But it's been so rare that I feel that it's not like a plausible way to expect to end up strong for most people.
Right.
It's be really rare. In general, almost all of the strong players ever have come from scenes that themselves are strong because they get to play against so many people. I mean, almost all of the strongest fighting game players are from like major metropolitan areas. They're from like Tokyo or Los Angeles or New York or London, right? I mean, there's like these big areas where they get to play against a ton of people constantly. And that's just a really big advantage, you know? Yeah. It's hard to overcome that advantage, I feel, if you don't have at least access to online play. At least nowadays. I don't even agree with you guys who are saying that Arslan Ash's Tekken scene is an example of this.
Arslan Ash does not count.
They have a bigger scene.
Yeah.
We didn't know about it. Many of us, anyway, didn't know about it in the rest of the world. But it turns out that northeastern Pakistan actually has a big scene. It's not just Arslan Ash. Like there are others there.
I don't know the history behind Armada, but some people are kind of talking about Armada not having a lot of people.
Okay, sure. So up there in Sweden, not having any online play for the game that he wanted to play. That's a great example as well. That's a really good pick.
Yeah. But the one thing,
like, similarly, the fact that we can like name two people who went through this experience, I think is a sign of just how rare it is, right?
Right. So here's the thing: can it happen? Like you said, to answer that question, yes. Does that mean that's how you should do it? Oh no. Like if that's your own,
avoid it.
Yeah, if that's your only choice and that's the only circumstance, by all means. I mean, like, yes, you guys can do it if the two of you, one, are dedicated enough, and two, are smart enough to always tell the other person how you're beating them. Because that's going to be the number one thing holding you back. If you have two friends and you win 7-3 against the friend all the time and you just like that, you guys are not going to grow. But if you spend the entire time going, dude, stop falling for this, or dude, you keep doing this, or hey, this is your weakness, and then that guy's like, yeah, actually, you have a problem with doing this, and if you are both, it's like I always say, the stronger you train your opponent so that your stupid tricks aren't consistent and reliable, the stronger of a player you are to be able to beat them. And so if two people are willing to have that kind of growth where they are very collaborative, absolutely possible, not the recommended way to go.
Yeah, for sure. And Homeboy had exactly the same experience of your Pakistani friend who doesn't know about the FGC told you about the strong scene over there and you didn't believe him. Yeah, I had exactly the same experience. A friend from Pakistan who I went to law school with told me about the strong scene, and I was like, there's no way that's true. And it ended up being correct. But talking about what you were just bringing up is actually related to something that I was planning to bring up later, but might as well right now, which is a video that Arslan Ash's YouTube channel had up of him having a little interview where he's basically, or time of him talking, where he talked about the fact that his local scene helps him out so much by trying to beat him constantly, right? So that is something, let's see the phrasing of it. He said, I see that there are many players in Pakistan who have a desire to beat me. They are working hard for that. This benefits both myself and the community. The benefit for me is that they work towards developing strategies against me. Sometimes they work and I get beaten at tournaments. This is beneficial as I then have to improve my game and level up. This is exactly what you guys are saying. And again, I don't think his scene is a great example of like a small dedicated group of friends, because it is more people than that. But the point is the same of, as long as people are challenging each other and are viewing that as like something that you can learn from and should learn from, and that goes back and forth, then yeah, you'll end up improving a lot, just like Arslan Ash did.
Arslan Ash is like Bruce Lee, dude. Like the stories of like Bruce Lee would just be walking around Hong Kong and random people would jump out and be like, "I challenge you!" Like just to try to prove that they were better than Bruce Lee, and then he would just proceed to kick their ass, dude. Oh man.
Well, this is a question that I hope is not super relevant for anybody nowadays. Online play for some games, I guess, still is not great, but for many games, it's at least at a point, like even if it could be improved, it's at a point where you could learn like a pretty substantial amount online. It's not going to be ideal for many things, but you can learn a lot in most games online. So this question is like maybe not as relevant as it has been in previous times. And if you do have access to the internet and you do have a scene, not just locally, but like your region geographically has enough online players as well, then that's a really important resource to use too.
Cool. We did it.
Okay. Enough. Let's move on to the
second
one.
place. Second place.
Number 4. Are there styles of fighting game characters that haven't been invented yet? Or that have been invented but haven't been explored enough yet? That's our second place champion for tonight. Man, I tried to think about this when I saw that it was suggested as a topic, and I think there may be a reason why I'm not a professional video game developer, because I don't know. I feel like if I had the answer to the question, are there styles of fighting game characters that haven't been invented yet, then I'm like in the wrong job. I should be inventing fighting game character styles. I don't know. I feel like there's zoners and up close grapplers and shades of in between, but like not. I don't know what else. I guess I'm sure that it exists. What it is, I couldn't tell you.
I'm on the complete opposite end of the spectrum of you.
Okay.
I think it's a ridiculous question to ask if there's styles that haven't been invented yet. Because obviously there are, but how the hell will we know when they haven't been invented yet? I mean, the more fighting games come out, the more styles of character we're going to see over the years, obviously. Like I feel like that's natural progression, and I feel like it's kind of a silly thing to assume that we've seen it all. We've seen zoning and grappling. That's it. We got it. That's all it's done. No way. Of course.
No, I think you're right. Yeah. But it's so the individual character styles is something that I feel like there's tons of iteration left on. But the larger archetypes, I feel like it's really rare that something gets invented as a new one. People are mentioning Jacko in the chat, and that seems like a good example, you know.
Or Rachel and BB.
Or Rachel and BB, or Gargos or something in modern KI. Like that kind of character is, I guess there's like a few examples of it, you know, but it is really rare. As far as what brand new archetypes could come up, I have no idea. I don't know.
I mean, I remember something that my older brother told me a long time ago, you know, when he was very, very, very young, you know, and learning. He's very musical. He likes music and everything like that. And, you know, there's only so many notes on a scale and all these things like that. And, you know, as a little kid, he was, you know, having his little kid thoughts and thought to himself, what if we just run out of music? What if we've just created every combination of notes possible so that there's no such thing as a new tune anymore, you know? And as the older you get, you just realize how much variety that you can do with music and just different, you know, chords and instruments and just styles and everything like that. You know, as a person who has done programming and such, the beautiful thing about fighting games is that you can break every rule at any point in time, at any given time. Honestly, I don't think we will ever run out of archetypes. And I don't think that we'll ever run out of new archetypes to create. We just haven't created them yet. And again, like everybody's been saying, we can't really answer like what, because then we should be making fighting games. But honestly, I don't think that'll ever run out. As long as the programmers can do whatever the hell they want, and that's what coding lets you do. Obviously, it's different with, older systems. You just didn't have the capacity to do it. Like, they wanted Mario to ride a dinosaur in, like, Super Mario 3, and they just couldn't do it. The machine didn't have the power. But these days, we're kind of at no limit, and we can do whatever we want. So, honestly, I feel like we can do all sorts of things. I mean, you could literally put in a character who, in Fatal Fury 1 on the Super Nintendo, there was a character that couldn't jump, right? You could have a character that never comes down from the ground. They just fly the entire game. And you just have to jump up and try to hit them out of the air. I guess kind of like 12, but you can't actually even land. Like, there just is no landing. They're just there the entire air. There's just so many different ways, I think, that you can create characters at this point that we'll never run out of archetypes. And what we're creating right now is we're reusing a lot of things because we know it to work and it's easier to balance, and just our brains are limited by what we know. We can come up with creative takes on them, but we haven't really spent a lot of the times to really try something crazy and wild, which is one of the best things about KI. Was because Keats was willing to, like Aghanos. The reason why I want to play Aghanos is, what an interesting, he's not a grappler, he's not a zoner, he's not a rushdown. What is Aghanos? He's the rock guy, like, what is, like, what category do you put Aghanos in?
He's an Aghanos.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So
he's an Aghanos. Yeah.
So basically, I mean, yeah, he could, like, what if people started making more Aghanos characters that they could limit the screen and build chunks in them and things like that and get slower or faster based on resources? Maybe that archetype becomes the Aghanos archetype.
Is Steve in Smash an Aghanos?
Not so much, I think, because he can't control the screen. He doesn't get
and he also doesn't have armor, right?
He doesn't have armor, as far as I know.
Yeah, you need to have armor of some sort to be an Aghanos.
Yeah, that's the fascinating, because, like, even just I was commentating a KI tournament last week, and we were watching Aghanos play, and it's so fascinating to me because, like, he built a wall behind him, even though, and then the wall behind the opponent, and he locked him in, and I was like, well, and then I realized the power of that was that even when the opponent was hitting him, he wasn't going anywhere. He was staying right next to him, and he was able to make, like, the most ridiculous comeback, and I was just like, this archetype doesn't exist. The control the screen space, like, literally put a new wall wherever like, think about it, like, he's basically the Space Gem as a character, right? That's just so fascinating, and no other fighting game has had the I control the screen archetype. Maybe that's what we need to create more of. So, honestly, as a programmer, I think the options are limitless. I think we are far from seeing all the possibilities out there, and I don't think we'll ever see all the possibilities, because as long as people are willing to be creative out there, you can do anything, basically.
Yeah. I mean, I'm with you. I think we're just barely scratching the surface. Assuming fighting games keep getting played and this isn't the big bubble and everything goes away again for a while. But either way, as long as fighting games are being played, I think we're just scratching the surface, and devs are going to keep making new dope character types. I don't think that'll ever stop.
Yeah, some people are mentioning, like, Dr. Frost in Injustice. Wasn't he was able to do... No. Wasn't one of the Injustice characters able to create an ice wall or something like that? Not Dr. Frost. Freaking Eskimo dude. Squiggly could do it. Squiggly could do it in Skullgirls.
Yeah.
Who's the stupid Mr. Free? No, Ice Cold? What? The stupid guy who should never be able to beat Flash, but he's actually Flash's enemy.
I just want to hear you keep coming up with new names, James.
Yeah. Captain Cold. There you go. Captain Cold.
Just loving listening to you go.
Dr. Freezy Pop.
Dude, I'll tell you, Captain Cold is, like, I swear I feel like he's the stupidest supervillain in the world, because there's just zero possibility for him to actually ever be able to beat Flash. Like, how are you one of Flash's arch? Like, I just don't feel like that's humanly possible.
He puts up a freeze bubble, And then the speed doesn't matter, James. Come on, man.
Slightly under the weather, man. Okay, I like that.
One of his gear moves that never got used in competitive play as a result was that he could actually create a second platform for him to jump into and stand on. And I thought that was super cool. But it wasn't a tournament legal move, so I never saw him use it. But that was a cool idea for sure. Yeah, I definitely agree with you guys that there's a lot of unexplored stuff. I just, I don't know what it is definitionally, right?
Well, I mean, we can't, right?
Right, exactly. So like I said, once we create the screen control character, maybe we just call him an Aghanos archetype. That might just end up being the name of it.
People in the chat are talking about maybe controlling time like Gearus can in Mortal Kombat 11 with some of his gear moves. So they've come up with some funky stuff. The last couple of games, actually last few games really, in the NRS series, but it's just not all like legal.
Right.
Legal.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we just don't see it.
But it's interesting to think about. I just, I don't know. I'm not, I feel like I'm really creative in some ways, but probably not for this.
It would be something that I would love to have the chance to work on. Let's just put it that way. So it's one of those weird things that I would love to have a chance to work on, but I don't want to take the time to think about it right now, because if I come up with something awesome and then I can never make it, I would feel really, really sad.
All right. Well, just shut your brain down. Don't think, James.
Yep, pretty much.
Stay
on my depression bubble, pretty much. That's all I'm going to do. So
that's the only way to live life now in 2020.
Yeah.
Put up your Mr. Freeze depression bubble.
The under the weatherman bubble.
He did have a Mr. Freeze costume, by the way.
Yeah, he did have a Mr. Freeze costume.
Oh, did he? Oh, okay. That makes sense.
With a different voice and everything. It was pretty cool.
He did, yeah.
Do you know what killed the dinosaurs? The Ice Age. Yeah.
No, it didn't.
Ugh.
No, it didn't. Arnold.
What a terrible movie.
Yeah. All right. Enough about this.
Yeah, let's move
on to the
on.
next.
There's not a ton of other game/FGC news to get to, but we'll talk about a little bit of it. We have previously discussed how in Undernight they may have been looking into putting in rollback, but that wasn't for sure, and maybe it was too hard, and yada yada. And a slight update to that, which is that the battle planner for Uniclear said that the French-bred team has been working on rollback slowly, but that it's difficult. So that's good to hear that they are actually trying to make it happen, but whether it's gonna happen for the next stuff, it's hard to tell from this kind of little report. It was just a stream where he was talking about it, a little bit of a chat.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, with the way the load times work in Undernight, I don't know if you guys have gone into training mode, and they have in their training mode menu the ability to load change characters and the background from the menu, so you don't have to go to the character select screen. When you pick that and click confirm, it just goes black and comes back, and they're there. So I feel like there's the loading in that game is probably a little easier than other games, and so I feel like there would be a good way to really have that save state technology work well for the game. So I feel like it probably would be easier than it would be, obviously, for a lot of the modern games that are in 3D and require tons of resources and stuff. But again,
you would hope so.
It's not straightforward. I'm never going to pretend it's straightforward. I'm not going to sit here and be like, why can't they just do this? It's really not as simple as people would like it to be. So if they're looking at it and working on it, that's better than anything. Like I said, my favorite thing about it is that the word rollback is on the lips of every Japanese fighting game developer right now. Everybody, like I said, even the fact that the Dragon Ball producer said rollback is a win.
Thank you, Blessed Sajam and Based Keats, for yelling at people all these years.
Maximilian too. Maximilian as well, so.
Yeah, whatever.
People's reaction was great right there. That's it. And then, I don't know if you all saw this SNK AllStars ad. Yeah, I had to. Right. So 3 of the KOF characters are the girl characters are like eating.
Which ones were they, David? Which ones? Name them.
I think
Blue
it was
Mary.
Pula,
Hey, no,
Mary.
this is David.
What?
I was saying, let David answer this too, but I'm just curious. So.
Oh, okay.
Pula, Mary, and I think it was Mai.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well done. Okay.
I don't know. Why do you think
I gave you the hard one with Blue Mary.
I played these. I'm not an expert in these games, so I played these.
Listen,
Anyway.
you're an NRS expert,
Thanks,
okay?
guys.
You've never played another game in your life.
Thanks, guys. Anyway, so there they are, like having a little chat with each other, sitting at a counter, and they're right by the road. And then Terry Bogard drives up in his motorcycle, and he slaps their butts, and says something. It's all in Japanese. I don't know what they're saying. And then he continues driving his motorcycle, and he like does a wheelie and crashes in the stupidest way possible.
Also, while doing the wheelie, he says, "Come on, come on!" and does the wheelie.
Yeah, I didn't realize.
Yeah.
And then as he's lying there after the accident, the 3 other characters come up, like ready to beat him up.
Yeah.
The animation's terrible, even aside from the content of it.
Yep.
It's super weird.
It just doesn't make any sense. It's like,
It's
why?
an ad for SNK AllStars. You know, it's not. This is not like a KOF 15 ad. This is an ad that is
It's
put out
real
there
weird.
by whoever the mobile dev is of this sort of stuff. But I'd be really surprised if SNK didn't at least have some kind of thing in our contract where they could review publicity and advertising before it goes out. That's very standard and stuff like this.
Well,
Maybe they didn't do it. I don't know. I'm just saying that is
well,
pretty standard.
I mean,
Yeah.
to be-
SNK has a history, David.
You mean of this kind of stuff?
Yeah.
The
Well, I
company
mean,
that put up
also-
the SNK Heroines storyline.
Yep.
I'm not terribly surprised to see this kind of ad from.
Yeah.
Definitely.
No, I was trying to say that, you know, Japan also kind of has a little bit of history, you know, for this kind of humor and stuff. They probably didn't consider it as offensive, and I think they tried really hard to make Terry look stupid, and then he's gonna get beat up in it. I mean, the biggest problem is that Kula Diamond is like 15 years old or something like that. Like that, honestly, is because here's the thing about it, right? I mean, like, lore-wise, you know, Terry and Blue Mary dated. Terry's brother is in love with Mai Shiranui, so, like, maybe there's just a little bit of, like, you know, they're close with each other and stuff like that. It's really the cooler part, I think, that kind of messes the whole thing up. So, it was just not a good idea.
You know, the chat is calling for Terry to be removed from Smash, and I have to agree with them.
The
At
code
this
of
point. I
conduct,
mean,
he gets the
Yeah,
new mail with the
he-
little Smash stamp on it, and it's like, you have been
Exactly,
removed
yeah.
from Smash.
yeah, they need to take him out. I mean, come on, this is ridiculous. How long can we stand for Terry Bogard to do this to the women of our community?
Yeah.
I saw in the tweet that I originally saw it in, one of the replies said something like, "This is totally out of character for Terry to do. Terry wouldn't crash his motorcycle." I thought that was good.
I know the lore of the SNK characters because my roommate is big into SNK and its lore, so I hear all the stories from him all the time.
Man, I had no idea. Speaking of SNK lore, I had no idea that Genjiro lusts after what's her face, the girl with the 2 different color eyes. Why can't I think of her name right now?
I don't know which one has the... Oh, you're talking about the girl in blue. Shoot, why can't I remember her name now?
I can't think of her name right now. What the hell?
Wow.
Earlier it was you with the names. Yeah, Shiki.
Shiki.
He wants Shiki because she looks like his mom. Like, that's a thing in Genjiro's backstory. He's like, oh yeah, Shiki. She reminds me of my mother. She's so hot. It's like, oh, okay. So I learned that live on stream while I was doing commentary for the game. So that was fun. That was at, like, CEO Taku, I think, last year.
Genjiro Oedipus.
Yeah, because I was talking about how Genjiro was my husbando. And they're like,
Yeah.
"Ew, I don't know if you want him to be."
No, Shin Maruku, actually, you have that backwards. The tie to Sam show is that Genon is Mai Shiranoi's ancestor, if I'm not mistaken, right? It's not Hanzo. It's Genon, I'm pretty sure. Anyways, okay.
Yeah.
I don't think David or Tubo's going to be confirming this one way or the other.
Cool. Here's
All right.
Let's move on. This was actually suggested to us in one of the 5-5 suggestion tweets. I hadn't heard about this before, but Sega has come up with something that they're calling fog gaming. That is a way to do cloud-based gaming. If you're going to do cloud-based gaming, then you're going to need servers all over the place, right? You're trying to get in between people, right? That's like what you all are doing with Parsec. And so how can you do that? Well, one of the ways that they're thinking about doing that is converting arcade machines in Japan into cloud computers, essentially.
What?
So you can play on these machines, like there are still going to be cabs that you can play on, but also they will serve as cloud computers for cloud-based gaming to work out, which is a cool idea, you know? So the idea is to have as many of these around, which may be practical in Japan. That may not be practical for anywhere else, but in Japan, this might be doable. And basically what they're saying is that when you put in a board, an arcade board into a machine, that could also just be a cloud computer that you're just installing right there.
Yeah, I mean, because the board is also just dedicated to the game. It's not like you need to build a machine that can handle all sorts of different games. That machine and the board is literally optimized for that game. So if you just add a few extra things in there, you don't have to worry about all the other stuff that goes on in a normal PC OS or anything like that. That's actually kind of really interesting.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting too. Here's a quote from the article.
All right.
While it would be difficult to convert existing machines, Sega is considering developing next-generation arcade system boards to be able to adapt to this purpose, which would mean installing new machines in arcades would be synonymous with installing cloud machines.
Yeah. The hardest part about this is obviously just that arcades are kind of dead. Even in Japan right now, they're dying because of...
maybe this gives the arcade owners a different, form of revenue.
True. Yeah, that's true. So they could, Sega or whatever companies are doing this could, throw some, incentives for them to do stuff like that or something.
Yeah. I think it's really cool if we get to make sure the arcades are still open.
Like, think about from Sega's perspective, usually as the company who owns these server farms, you have to be paying for electricity and stuff like that, which can be expensive.
Right.
And instead, if it's on the arcade owner to do that, so you're like trading off of their already paying all of these electricity expenses. That's like their business model. Mm-hmm. And you can give them some sort of way to make people come in to want to play, or maybe they get a cut of the ability to host a little bit of somebody's cloud match, right? As in the same way that they might if the person had played there in person.
Like every time it hosts a match, they get the 100 yen or something like that, right?
Interesting to think about.
Because, the other thing that's interesting about that, too, is, you were talking about the electricity costs and stuff like that. What's tricky for the arcades is, even if nobody's playing the machine, it's still on. The electricity's still being used, and so it's basically going to nothing, right? It's not like the machine is off and you come on and turn it on, wait till it boots up, and then you can play the game. So if that electricity is being used, it's not necessarily costing the arcade owners extra money. It's the same money, and then if they get a slight kickback, that saves the money on the people who are hosting it, and it's kind of win-win for that's a really neat idea. Okay, I'm just, fascinated by the concept of it, that's all, so... Okay.
We'll see how that works out. Obviously, COVID's thrown a wrench in everything.
Yeah.
And then the last little bit of gaming-related news is, it happened earlier today. I just wanted to mention it. Capcom had an online show presented by TikTok called Black Excellence in Esports. And it was hosted by Jammers and had F-Word and Problem X and Reinhardt and Mark Fury. If you don't know who Mark is, he's one of the broadcasters who does stuff in London and has done stuff elsewhere as well. I think that's cool. I wish I had been able to watch it. It was on TikTok. And
yeah, that's it. Like you said TikTok, I said, ugh. I'm not. No, I mean, it's cool they did that. It's really awesome. but I'm not using TikTok.
Yeah, that was my exact reaction. So I hope that gets uploaded to like YouTube or Twitch at some point, because I would really like to see it. I'd love to watch and hear the interviews and stuff like that. But if you have TikTok, check it out on the Capcom.
If you're like, if you're one of the 99% of humans on Earth right now who have TikTok, you guys can watch it. Enjoy.
I've heard it's pretty popular. All right, that's all I got for this.
But it's getting banned in our country, isn't it?
Yeah, nope, sure isn't.
Oh, man. Okay, anyways.
On that one. All right. Let's get to the next thing, just to briefly talk about some of the tournament results. Not many. CPT Online East Asia 2 happened, and it was a good one. Even Tubbleware said that a cool thing happened in Street Fighter 5.
I did, yeah.
Even Tubbleware. So this was won by Gachikun. So Gachikun qualifies for Capcom Cup, where he's been in the past. He's a former Capcom Cup champion. He makes it back. That means that players like Momochi, Tokido, Fudo, Itazan, etc., Fujimura, Bonchan, etc., do not qualify for Capcom Cup this year.
You're right, scrubs.
Like one of them will get in. That's it's not going to be easy.
Clearly, they're all washed up.
They all suck. Especially Tokido, who had the sickest thing that many of us have seen in a long time, when his Urien versus Itukix Dalsum expected for Dalsum to teleport in, did Crouching Fierce as a reaction, got the pop-up, EX fires coming his way, and he waits for the Crouching Fierce to end, and then does EX Headbutt, not only to juggle, which is the combo you're supposed to do, but also to evade through the EX fire with his own EX moves invincibility.
One of the coolest things I've ever seen.
It was super smart, very just fantastic awareness, really fast ability to think on the spot. Yeah. It was definitely agreed.
Most people would see that fireball coming and be like, oh, okay, I'll low fierce and just try to block. But he was like, nah, that's not good enough, son.
Yeah. He had blocked
saw the opportunity.
Yeah, right. He could kill. So get the kill. I feel like all of us here, we probably would have been in that situation. We would have been Urien, and then we would have blocked, right? And then after the fact, we would have been like, I probably could have done EX Headbutt. I wonder if that would work. Like, we would think about that, but I don't know if any of us would think about that, like, in that split second, the few frames of decision making that Tokido made the decision in. I don't know who else would make that.
I mean, it was just, it's one of those moments that even if you would normally do that, to do it in that situation, like, that big of a match online, it's like, man, you are brave, Tokido. You are a brave man.
All right,
that was cool.
Here. Hang on a second. Yeah, I'm gonna grab this for everybody because they all want to see it. I'm gonna show the high fight video here because he breaks it down in slow motion for you guys and everything like that, and also because my computer can actually handle it now, so I think it'd just be fun to be able to do this. So.
Fancy. Okay, well, while you're setting it up, let me say that there were 14 Seths in the top 128. 15% of the players used Seth. And every single character was represented in that top 128, except for Ed.
Oh, man. Anyways, here's the clip. Here's the clip that High Fights...
I got those event hubs, I want to say.
So I hope people can actually hear this a little bit. I think people at home can hear this. I don't think you guys can hear it, but...
I can hear nothing.
Okay. But here we go. This is what happens right here. So, by the way, High Fight's videos here, where he does this, is amazing. I love them. So here we go.
Yeah, where he highlights all the decisions and everything.
Yeah, and why you have to make those choices and everything like that. And so charge or not, gets him here with the fireball, frame traps him, comes in here, gets out of there. And then basically this is where it happens right here. He knocks him off of him here, and then this is the crazy part. Well, one, he gets the Dalsum combo here, which is awesome. And then he tries again, too far. Out of there. Sets up another one, hits him. Here we go. Fireball, air teleport. Tokido realizes it, fierces him out of there. Here comes the fireball. EX gets the combo to continue and wins.
So dope.
Dude, this is so... Yeah, nobody's hearing anything. That's fine. I'll fix that for next time. But this is just seriously, like, here it is in real time. He also gives it to us in real time as well. I'll fast forward it a little bit just so we can get to that moment a little quicker here.
It was a really good match. I looked at it on my Monday morning quartersback stream. I already put that YouTube video up. So check it out. I analyzed this in pretty detail. And by the way, this backdash that he does right before that, this wouldn't have worked without that backdash.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, that was a full-on read from Tokido.
Yeah,
he knew
for
what was
sure.
coming.
Dude, it was
For
so
sure.
sick, dude. It was so good.
All right, everybody in the chat. Wow, Tokido really used his head there. Good work. Anyway, that was a really fun top 8 match. The Tekken Online Challenge, US Central happened. Shadow won it, and then the final boss was Cuddle Core. I just love this final boss idea that they do. I think that's a really fun, just a fun gimmick. And Cuddle Core beat Shadow 3-1. Good work.
Cool.
Arc Revo America Online Northeast happened, and what was interesting about that was that Tempest won both games. Wow. Tempest won both BB Tag and also Grand Blue.
I mean, that is an accomplishment right there. Good job to Tempest, dude.
Definitely. Yeah, that is a tough one. Charlotta in Grand Blue, and then Mika and Carmine in BB Tag. Pretty remarkable. And then in the DBFZ National Championships, we mentioned last week that Chris G pulled out, and we wondered what would happen with that. There was a replacement. And
It was, yeah.
this is CientifiKOF, CientifiKOF. It's like a genius pun, because I guess he's a doctor maybe, or he's a scientist. Cientifico, right, in Spanish. And then it's KOF at the end. I just think it's a genius visual pun, but I don't know how to pronounce it. Good work. All right,
Now,
that's it for...
what did they do for the Chris G and Reynold match? Does CientifiKOF come in with a loss then, or does he get to play Reynold? Do we know?
I have no idea.
I bet somebody knows, but
Okay.
it's not me.
Yeah, I have no
Reynold is at 0-1 in the standings, so I guess that's just going to be...
They're going to replay it. Okay. Yeah, there you go. That was confirmed in the chat. So, okay.
Cool, Jason. All right. And then just a few upcoming things. This coming weekend is First Attack's top 8s for most of their fighting games. There's Killer Instinct, Tekken 7, Mortal Kombat 11, Smash Ultimate, DBFZ, and Street Fighter 5. That's going to be all weekend, just like normal major broadcasting, which is cool. And that will be on twitch.tv/firstattackpr. I'm going to be doing Mortal Kombat top 8, and James and I are going to be doing Street Fighter top 8 commentary.
Yeah.
So,
Cool.
Heads up. There's also a Footsies global tournament that will be coming up. That will be on Thursday, October 29th, just a couple of days from now, 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern time. This is a global tournament, right? This is...
Yeah, it's going to go so poorly.
I wonder, right? Because they're
It
trying
has to, man.
Yeah, they're trying it out. They want to see how well the netcode goes, and it's got good netcode. It's just
There's gonna be some surprising matchups that work really well. Like somebody's gonna play like from Midwest of France, and it's gonna be perfect, right? But there's definitely gonna be some connections where it's just like this is incredibly unplayable. Like there's no way. There's absolutely no way if you do a global tournament you don't run into some bad times.
It's cool, man. We'll see how it goes. I think it's an interesting little experiment. They actually do have
I
a
hope it works out.
so far, and they have a Matcherino for it, so that number can go up too.
I mean, look, if it works out, that is definitely one, a tribute to the netcode, to GGPO. Also a tribute to High Fight doing a good job putting that in there, dude, and getting it working. It's been so cool, because I remember when he first created the game, he was like, I'm not sure how to do netcode. Like, I don't know how I would do this, and now he has it making it work. So there you go. I think that's really, really cool.
He seems like a
Also
smarty
really,
pants.
really cool. Bunch GG gifting all those subs. Thanks.
Yeah.
What? Oh, wow. Thanks, Bunch.
Nice.
Much obliged for the 5 gifted subs. That is super cool of you to do.
Man, one of them went to Jason Game Dev. Oh, God. No, it's kidding.
What a jerk.
By
I
the way,
appreciate
I'm
that.
trying to set up a Google server, so if you're down to help me, let me know.
Oh yeah, I can.
Okay.
Yeah, I hope the event goes great. Hope the event goes great.
Okay.
And then James also wanted to talk about the Matcherino Cup finals, right?
Yep, that's right. The Matcherino Cup final. So there have been a bunch of qualifiers. The last one just took place. Arturo just ran that one this past weekend. And basically, it's a bunch of Super Turbo events. Matcherino decided they wanted to do a big tournament. They asked a lot of community people, which game should we do that's like old school but has a lot of players still involved. And Super Turbo, I felt like, was the easiest answer. And so they decided to go ahead and go with that. And we've run a bunch of the events. I just put up my qualifier on YouTube, so you can actually watch all of the Super Turbo action there. I had 4 people. I was given 4 slots for qualifiers, but we ended up with the 32 players that are going to be playing in this tournament, which is going to be taking place on Friday, October 30th at 5 p.m. PST. All the qualifiers are also allowed to restream it. So I will be restreaming this on twitch.tv/jchensor on Friday as well. So you can watch on my channel if you want to. Lot of very, very strong players there. For example, DJ Frijoles, who is a really, really strong T-Hawk player from Mexico.
Beans, man. I used to play with him all the time on GGPO or whatever it even was before that,
nice.
like 1,000 years ago. So shout out to them.
Yeah, Mukas Damdai is in this tournament. Fromo, Silent Scope, Mega Man X, who is a Zangief player.
BMW.
What's that?
Mortal BMW, Midwest rep.
Oh yeah, but Mega Man X actually won one of the qualifiers with Zangief to get into the tournament. Scuzz Bucket is in there. Dangerous Paper Cut is playing in there. El Trouble is playing in the tournament. So there's a lot of very strong players. A lot that I didn't even get a chance to mention. Muck, of course, Ultra Combo, aka Muck, who's basically one of the best in the country for Super Turbo right now, if not the best. He won my qualifiers. So yeah, there's going to be a lot of really strong players. It's going to be a lot of fun for some Super Turbo action.
I like my boy Damien Dalladane is Damdai to take the whole thing.
Yeah, of course. Damdai is clearly one of the favorites coming into this event.
My boy Damien.
Your boy, huh?
My boy.
You know,
me and Damdai go way back. Way back.
Okay.
Yeah. There is some footage out there of me at a High Rollers tournament sending Damdai to loser's bracket with my Cammy and Ken versus his Ryu at a Seasons Beatings event many years back.
Where is this? Where is this footage, James?
It exists out there. I'll link it to you if you want. Now, granted, I have never beat Damdai again after that. But
James has that video bookmarked, favorited, saved on his cloud file. He has that video forever.
I have
Seasons Beatings, it took place forever ago.
Yeah,
that's
it
true.
definitely did. It was like one of the first times I had ever been flown out to a tournament to do commentary, I remember. Yeah. It was a long time ago. But a lot of people were like, I didn't know you played Ken, James. Like, that was... Because I even got short super on him at one point, and I was like, I'm the best. So, yeah.
I mean, I'd be in Damdai too. Come on. He's not so great.
Oh, David.
I don't think I've ever beaten him in tournament, though. Not that I can recall. That's it. That's all we got. Look, if you live in the United States, please vote in the election. And please vote for Joe Biden. That's my official endorsement. I've actually been doing phone banking for him, which I find super exasperating. This to me is very easy, right? Talking to hundreds of people, thousands of people, watch it later. That's no big deal. The idea of talking with one person who I don't know on the telephone is like anxiety inducing to the max.
What if I called you on the phone right now, David? Would that be anxiety inducing?
I know you, so it would be less anxiety inducing, but I'd rather not talk on the phone.
Wow. Huh, all right.
Talking on the phone sucks, dude.
Something about
yeah,
the phone.
No, I mean, I'm similar.
I just hate it. But I have been trying to do it because I'm trying to get this guy elected. I think it's the right thing to do.
Yeah.
I am clearly not super enthused. He's not the person that I wanted, nor the second, and nor the third. But
he's a guy that's not Donald Trump.
he is not actively out there causing more infections in the world right now. He's not actively causing super spreader events on a weekly basis. I mean, there's just the bar is the lowest that it's maybe ever been, but that nevertheless is the bar, and he's above it, and so I think that we should all vote for him.
Look, man, do you really care about 220,000 people dying, or do you care about getting to motherfucking Mars, dude? I mean, come on, dude. Like, come on.
Yeah, that was a very weird tweet.
Come on,
real
dude.
weird tweet.
Yeah, even for nerds like us who like are into space exploration, are like curious about the world and would love more science to happen, still absolutely mega bizarre.
Just real low on the priority list right now is getting to Mars for me.
Yeah.
You'd have asked me like 6 years ago, it would have been like way up there. I'd be like, yeah, we got to get there already. Now it's like, we should fix home first.
Yeah.
We should fix this before we go fuck up something on other planet.
Definitely. So I know that he's not. Nobody I know loves Joe Biden, right? Nobody's like the big, super dedicated Joe Biden fan, but he's the lowest common denominator that we've all agreed is like acceptable enough. So please vote for him, even if you're in a state that's not going to be contested when it comes to the Electoral College. There's clearly going to be an attempt to steal the election by way of courts. And if the popular vote is very strongly in Biden's favor, they will be less likely to do that. I'm not telling you that they will not be likely to do that, but they'll be less likely to do that if there's a really, really strong popular vote. So to me, that it matters, even if you're in a state like I am, where we all know that California is going to vote Democrat. Still, just having that extra number up there is going to be really important.
Yeah.
I'm not about to sit here and defend all of them, his plans. Nevertheless, that's the situation that we find ourselves in, and it is way, way preferable to somebody who is actively causing more death and destruction in COVID and is actively fomenting hate. It's a low bar, but that's where we are, and he's above it.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, essentially, if you're not settling for Joe Biden, that means you're probably voting from a place of extreme privilege where the election doesn't really affect you very much. So you're probably like a white, straight, cis male. That's probably who you are. If you don't think you should be voting for Joe Biden right now. So
we've just had.
I do know some people of color who are not voting for Joe Biden, or maybe to be accurate, they said that they weren't planning to and now are going to because it's just become more dire.
I mean, none of us were planning to. None of us wanted to.
Like, well,
I still don't want to, but I damn sure am going to.
Absolutely right. I think there are other reasons to feel like he's not the one to vote for that are separate from I'm very privileged. It maybe is also that you're tired of never being taken into account, of never being spoken to, and I imagine it's very frustrating. But in order to not have an extra maybe 200,000 Americans die, we need a change of leadership, and that's, I guess,
for sure,
it's a low bar. That's where we are.
One of the statistics that I heard stating the number of deaths in a way that I think is clearly a lot more impactful is that it's 1 in 1,600 people in our country have died. Like, it's not even a big number. Our population is gigantic. It's 1 in 1,600 people have died at this point in time, and that's unacceptable. It's just just what it is. It's unacceptable. So
yeah, man, and it's gonna get worse. We had the most number of cases that we've ever had. We just had more people in the FGC, members of the FGC whose family members have passed away from COVID.
Yep.
The whole thing is just at this point, if you can afford to think it's a hoax because no one you know has had anybody close to them pass away, or if you've died of COVID and people still use your Twitter to say that the pandemic is fake and stuff like that, then I mean, you're just coming from a very privileged position. So there you go.
Yeah, no Tuesday show next week. At least not that I'm going to be doing. I don't know if you want to do on YouTube, but I'm definitely going to be looking at the election.
Yeah, same.
And I want to caution everybody against viewing it as election day. It is definitely not going to be election day. many of the news organizations are not going to be calling winners on just that night. There are just too many ballots to be counted that will come in later, and it's just
dumb.
going to be a process we won't know for a while.
Like, we're supposed to be this advanced country. Why do we have a day to vote? You know, it's just like the whole thing is
even
so
if we do have a day,
goddamn
it should be a
archaic.
national holiday. That's a paid work day, so everybody can go do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's like the minimum bar of entry, in my opinion.
Right.
There's so many people I know who literally just like, I can't vote. Like, how? When am I supposed to? You know, if I can't vote by mail, when am I supposed to drop off my ballot? I can't.
Right.
Yeah, and it's not even really correct that 99% of people recover from COVID. I mean, I've read different stats on that anyway, that it might not be. It may be more like 34% don't. But in any case, that's talking about people who die or not, when the truth is that an unknown percentage so far from what I've read, but a not insignificant amount, have long-lasting health effects of at least since they got it in March. We don't have data beyond that because we haven't moved beyond that yet, but at minimum, there's like 6 months at least of major lasting health effects, and it might be lifelong. It might be lifelong.
Some people have been talking about how afterwards there's this thing called COVID fog where they can't like think, where their brain just kind of goes away. I've heard, I don't know what the truth behind this was, and again with the internet and all of this word, I don't know if you guys know, but I heard someone who's had COVID before caught it again. I don't know if that's
No, there's been several.
Okay, so that is factual now. Okay, got it. Okay.
Yeah, you are not immune if you've got it once.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah,
yay!
It sucks out there, and if we're gonna have any hope of changing at all, you got to go vote for the guy who none of us loves, and that's Joe Biden. I mean, that is like the only hope that we have, and it's not a great high hope, but it's all that we have, and it's better to take some kind of action than absolutely zero.
Yep, no one's sitting here. I mean, it's really just voting against someone more.
It is. Here's the hope. I agree with that. All right. Yep. That's going to be it. Anything else to say for today?
Nope.
Sweet.
Time to go.
Alrighty then.
Good luck to everybody.
Thanks, guys. You guys won't hear the bird on your end, but the people at home will hear it. You might hear an inkling of it over my microphone, so here you go.
Yeah, the next couple weeks I feel like are among the scariest that I have thought.
It's going to be hard, guys. Please stay safe.
Yeah, please be safe.